think the strongest player in your team, Kenzo?
I don't know, but I think I'm mid-lane this kind of shit.
Hello, Kenzo. Nice to meet you. What's up? Wait, what were you saying about me? Hello?
Seeing like other team at finals means a lot of memes, so I mean that's good for us, no?
I think both bot lanes of the TT teams are pretty evenly matched.
How badly do you think you're gonna be Saints and Blades?
Faking who?
The Duke is low as well. Open! No health has been ignited, but should be able to sneak away. And it's actually Megabeam who is coming up huge, but he's so low and down. He goes Talia, somehow taking out the Silent. The team fight going in the Goon's favor.
Yeah, Saint Blades lost finals last year, didn't he? Sucks that this time he'll lose again is his fault.
It's pretty easy. Build like iron to iron. I've had no competition in bot lane. It's been the freest games of my life.
Suppression connected Megabeam, and down he goes. A double, a triple for Godhuffman. Will they get the quadra? Yes, a quadra kill for this Jinx.
Support is a hard role to be outstanding in, but you know, I just deserve it.
I play just like ints without Nautilus.
I'd say if he's only playing one champ, then he's not that good.
Gamer, he's gone. He's gone. He's out of here. Seriously, he's gonna regret leaving Kenzo's games because we got a replacement and he's better and he's gonna get 2-0'd. Tilio, like, he hasn't even played Tilio once in tournaments.
Nautilus is trying to sort Since like most of the people I know in his team are like bad, so like the people I don't know like Stab Bubble, I reckon he might be good. So we'll see about that.
It's the 1v1 against the Deathknight, and Stabble is in a sticky situation. Might be able to turn this. And the ulti does land the fear. And the execution does fear. It's gonna be another oh my god, that's excellent setup.
Gryffindor's worse than mid laner.
Nice. Oh my god, Gryffindor with the move.
It's gonna be 3-0. I'm gonna stomp Griffin lane, and after that I'm just gonna limit this all game. This time I'm just going to solo Baron, and it'll be easy game.
It sort of positions himself. Baron! Wait, he's gonna get him! Flash! Hurt! Pretender goes down to Baron!
Tommy's like a coin flip player, so you can't really say that he's just bad, because sometimes he's really good. Not that good, but really.
We're waiting in the place right now. Ainge is walking straight in. Talia is the one who does the trick. Big Ezra will through the openings and everything, but Victoria will try and slow him down. In the middle of it all, though, the Pretender is coming up huge. Triple kill for this talent.
I can probably play a better mid, a better top, and a better support. But Hames is pretty good. Yeah, Hames sucks.
So technically with Sarah's gauge, she does pop the shield and aftershock, they would turn on the same.
Is my team good or is my coaching good?
Yeah.
I say both.
But
But like obviously. Oh, we got the answer in our hearts. We don't have to say it. Yeah.
Should be competitive, but very. Man, we're gonna shit on Poki's team. All I'm saying is 3-0 easy clap.
Last night exploded.
Right. Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello,
I am-
everybody.
Adam, CSO89, and I'm here with Max, who's some name I don't know, but I do know his Twitter handle, which is @formalcasting. Is that right?
Yeah, believe it or not, they are actually the same thing.
Yep. Really? Wait, your in-game name is Formalcasting?
One of my accounts, the one that I am logged into right now, is in fact called Formal Casting. Yes, it is.
Did you do that after or
whole
before
whopping
Twitter?
level 8.
Oh, level 8, that is.
A whole whopping level 8. Because you can tell this is my like serious real account.
Yeah, it's your main, for sure.
Definitely.
It has your Twitter handle on it.
That's the most important thing. It's all about that self-promotion.
Exactly,
Anyways, hello
exactly.
everybody, and welcome to the University of New South Wales League of Legends Rumble Final pregame show. I guess this is the pregame show. We're just going to have a little chat about what we are about to see today and what it all entails, because it will be a best of 5 between Sean and friends taking on Kenzo's Goons, and it's going to be a treat for everyone at home.
Yeah, that's right. And why don't we start off with saying just a prediction, or not a solid prediction, no numbers or anything. Just who do you think has the favorable team?
I mean, I want to, in my heart, actually say Kenzo's Goons, but I just can't bring myself to actually pick them to take the whole series. I think we might see a reverse sweep tonight. That's actually what my prediction is going to be. It's going to be a reverse sweep going to Sean and friends.
Well, that is a very bold prediction, because I was going to go the complete opposite direction. I was going to say most likely going to be just a clean 3-0 from either side.
Yeah, but which side?
I actually don't know. I think whichever team wins the first game just has such a huge mental advantage for the rest of the series, especially with these teams and the way that their mental game seems to have gone. It's like one mistake or one loss could completely change the series.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're bringing up, the idea that it could be one mistake and one loss. And that's one of the reasons why I think at the end of the day, Sean and Friends is most likely to take this entire series. I find the players on that team to be a bit more consistent, with the exception of one of them, which I will get more into later. But the late game decision making out of Kenzo's Goons kind of came into question during that semifinals. There was one play in particular around a Baron pit, which I think we just saw in that video package before, that definitely raised some eyebrows. Yes, they were able to recover from it, but making those kinds of mistakes in the grand final could be fatal for your championship hopes.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully they've learned from their mistakes, because they do have, both teams have some very good coaches. Shout out to those people, Sean and Friends coach, Enna, and Kenzo's Goons coach, PokeFans. They're both very talented players, and hopefully they've drilled some sense into these teams before the finals.
Yeah, hopefully they have. I'm curious to see how they'll come through in this one. As you can see right now, we do have a bit of a fan vote going on, so you can make your prediction as well, who you think is going to take it. At the moment, it does look like it's going to Kenzo's Goons, but I expect Sean and Friends might start to bring it back in their favor as the stream goes on. Let's take a look at the teams right now, because there's a lot of star power coming out as Sean and Friends. So they're the blue side. They're easier to focus on first. Let's start from the very tippy top. CSO 67, what are your thoughts on this player?
Okay, all I'm going to say is, when you were mentioning one player that's very inconsistent, this is the person I think you were talking about.
It was, in fact.
Yeah, Sean, or CSO 67, has some very clean performances sometimes. Like, he 1v9s the game, just split pushes all game, makes the right decision making, solo kills people left, right, and center, but like, sometimes you just don't know what he's doing. You have to question every decision that he makes.
I think a lot of it, though, does have to come from his champion pool and what he tends to play. He doesn't really opt for the more traditional, hard, engagey top laner. He does kind of tend towards those more feast or famines, sometimes a little bit unconventional top lanes as well. I think it benefits his style when it works out, but when it starts to fall behind, sometimes he can become that liability on the team. If I am Kenzo's Goons, and specifically if I'm Hames, I definitely feel CSO 67 is going to be one of those laners that I'm going to be targeting throughout the series. Maybe get in his head, get him in a downward spiral, because if you're not in the right place because you're getting camped, you're more likely to be the famine type player as opposed to the feasting type player. I definitely feel top lane is going to be a point of interest for Kenzo.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And as you're saying, his unconventional champ pool, lots of mages like Nico, Vladimir, Rise, and they don't really, as you phrased it, have a way to pull the trigger and engage, which I think is actually counterintuitive, because he's the main shot caller on their team based on the information we've gotten from the team and, talking to them outside of Rumble. But Sean, or CSO 67, is definitely the main shot caller for this team, because everyone else they're supposed to be banking on their individual outplays and mechanical ability. And I think putting him on these champions that are very volatile in their lanes, while he also has to watch the rest of the map and make decisions, is kind of splitting his focus a bit.
Hey everyone.
And that's why we see these inconsistent performances.
We have a surprise visitor joining the
everyone.
call.
So Riot Games, their servers are having a bit of issues right now because of TFT. I called it, but we're currently making the lobby, and hopefully, if everything goes smoothly, we will start on time at 6 o'clock. And I'm out.
Awesome.
Yeah, keep going, guys.
Okay.
Cool. Hopefully we get there on time and get everything done by 6.
Yeah, hopefully we do get this going soon enough. But I want to continue going through Sean and Friends because we are slowly running out of time and only 10 more minutes till picks and bans. So let's just sort of clump the next two together, Embrace Darkness and Gryffindor. I feel coming into this one, this is the synergy that can take over the series. A lot of people know Embrace Darkness as this, hardcore Nocturne main, but when he's taken, when that Nocturne is taken away from him, usually during picks and bans, he tends to resort to sort of these safe, engagey junglers. And I'd like to see Gryffindor, the man of 1,000 champions, actually start to synergize with this, maybe start to snowball around this mid lane.
Yeah, definitely. When Embrace Darkness isn't on that Nocturne, he plays a lot of, like you said, engagey champions, and definitely early game ganking junglers like the Jarvan, the Rek'Sai, and the Sejuani. All champions that can, if they were to focus a specific lane, they can easily just completely ruin that person's life for that game. And hopefully I see him on something even more early game focused, like the Xin Zhao, or dare I say it, a Lee Sin.
I don't know if the Lee Sin is in his repertoire, or if it is, this would be the best time to pull it out. But for me, what he takes is less important than what Gryffindor takes. I feel like throughout a lot of the tournaments he's in, he tends to opt for sort of these more control mages, which definitely might suit a team comp well, but he is going to have to play the hell out of it. I want to see him take one of those more aggressive control mages. I'm looking at picks like Syndra, possibly an Orianna, especially if that J4 gets locked in, we were talking about before. I think sort of ball delivery systems or, long range stuns might really suit Gryffindor coming into this one, especially when you have a bot lane that also likes to play around mid game. Heck, going back to Gryffindor, actually, which would be a lot of fun is if he actually has a chance to bust out the LeBlanc.
Oh, definitely. Anything that can hard stomp the lane and then transition that into some sort of synergy with his jungler, that's definitely something we want to see out of Gryffindor. And you're mentioning the bot lane, how they like to focus around mid game, and that's definitely true. Satan Blaze and Aimer as well, very lane, they're not lane dominant, but they don't lose lane either. They're like in that balance where they get the resources they need without overextending, but also without doing very dangerous things.
Yeah, and it has a lot to do with the champion pools that I believe Satan Blaze and Amir's Love tend to focus on. I know Amir isn't afraid to play a mage support. I know Satan Blaze does like to run sort of his early mid-game ADCs, your Ezreals, your Lucians, things like that. Heck, and if, one of these gets going early game, it's sort of that win lane, win game mentality that we see a lot of times out of Sean and Friends, especially, when your mid laner is Gryffindor, and you have the Feast or Famine top laner. So I expect Sean and Friends to really be playing aggressive today. Specifically, though, if we want to get into more details about how I want them to channel that aggression, I'm hoping that they're going to push it and they're going to actually look to try and focus on Hames, of all people, out of Kenzo's Goons. As of just yet Hames, I think, should be a point of focus, though, for Sean and Friends, just because Hames really seems to be a key focal point for Kenzo's Goons. The team tends to play around Hames wherever he goes. This was most seen in that last semifinal. And I feel as if Sean and Friends can really put Hames down, Kenzo's Goons might find themselves, running around without a head. And then, that questionable decision making might rear back into focus once more. And I could see that really going poorly for the red side.
Yeah, definitely. With the champion pools that all of these players have, it's definitely easy to get 3 shoving lanes that get priority early and then just run into Hames' jungle and make his life miserable. If you see CSO 67 on something like the Urgot or maybe the Nico, just shove his lane. Gryffindor, like you said, the Orianna, maybe even the Ahri, who can get that lane presence early. And then bot lane on maybe a mage support, so when the time comes that they need to shove, it's very easy, just spam your abilities on the wave, let your ADC last hit it, and just walk into Hames' jungle and don't let him do anything. He's one of the main carries on the team in that first 15 minutes, and shutting him down can definitely swing the game in Sean and Friends' favor heavily.
Definitely. And I think a key thing they might have to do in order to have, like, go this route is really attack Hames' champion pool. I don't want to go into too much details about where I would be focusing because I kind of feel that might be a little bit, giving away strats or what have you. But there's one of Hames' mains that I would be okay of him taking just because they're easier to attack. And I feel if you ban away sort of his alternative junglers, so he's forced onto this champion, and then you attack said champion, that could be very good for Sean and Friends. That said, though, Kenzo's Goons, it's not all about the jungle. They have stars in other lanes as well. I'm looking at their top lane and their bot lane in particular as, areas that they could start to really win the game from, like that they can focus on.
Yeah, definitely. You saw in the video that Lady Gaga fan was saying some pretty big words, some very confident words. So I hope he lives up to it in the match because he has been putting on some spectacular performances in the quarterfinals and in the semis. I want to see him on something like Kai'Sa or maybe even Illusion if it's in his champion pool, and just see him dominate the laning phase and transition that into a mid lane advantage. A mid-game advantage, rather.
I do agree. I think he does actually have a larger champion pool than what Satan Blaze might have, just because of that Kai'Sa that you mentioned before. He has proven he can go late game. That's not something I've really seen consistently out of Satan Blaze. And just through that alone, it does sort of enable more variety that the entirety of Kenzo's Gooms can actually take into this picks and bans. But should he choose to, he can also go for the early mid game AD carries as well. It's kind of why I feel AD carry is going to be one of those major points of contentions during the initial picks and bans. I don't see someone like Sivir getting through. So we're looking at sort of those next tier ones after the Sivir. You're looking at the Ezreals, the Kaisas, and the Lucians. And if Kenzo's Goons are feeling really crazy, I do envision a world where they actually ban away 3 AD carries just to ensure that they feel they have the more comfortable matchup in the bot lane.
It's definitely doable on their side, but on the other hand, they can leave the Sivir up and take Lucian as a counter pick into it, but that also depends on the support matchup as well. Both of the supports do like to play Nautilus, and I think that's definitely going to be a contested pick in the draft.
See, you're looking at Nautilus, and I'm actually not too sure. Sorry to disagree with you here, but I feel as if both supports typically are more comfortable on their sort of magey enchantery supports. Yeah, Nautilus and, all the hook champions, Thresh should be in every supports champion pool, but I just don't know if that's their comfort. So, even if one of them is kind of put on that Nautilus, I'm not sure that might be what they want long term. It's curious. It's definitely going to be an interesting battle in the bot side. I don't know if I like Satan Blaze and Amir and Love is this matchup. My brain just went full. I don't know where right there. My point I'm trying to make is I feel no matter which way you spin it, I feel Kenzo's Goons are probably going to have an advantage in that bot.
Yeah, I agree. But based on their champ pools, honestly, I think both of their coaches are going to just exile the caster supports because in their group stages they were playing a lot of Nautilus, and Aima also played a bit of Leona, but I know that historically their champion pools are definitely, like you were saying, the casters and the enchanters, but recently due to the meta shifting and with engage supports being so strong in these lower I guess elos, because of how much go buttons are so powerful in this level. So I agree that they probably don't. The supports themselves don't want to play those champions, but I think the team as a whole would benefit from having them. That's why I was thinking we would probably see a contested Nautilus pick, or maybe even Braum, something like that.
See, Braum I could see happening, especially with Lucian kind of being in both AD carry's wheelhouse.
True.
I'm actually looking towards Karma as being one of the more contested support picks, just because of how strong she is in the meta and how well she fits both supports champion pool. Plus, can be flex top as well in a kind of crazy situation. that kind of crazy situation, which I think lends to both CSO 67 and Stabable's wheelhouse. Stabable is not someone who we've brought up yet, and I love this guy's champ pool. I love his style, and I think he's going to be in a good situation to actually try to showcase what he can do in this series tonight.
Yeah, and especially against CSO 67, who isn't exactly the most dominant laner on the majority of his picks. And Stabable's champ pool is very heavily favored towards the Urgot, the Illaoi, and the Gnar. So those champions into CSO 67 could definitely get him a huge advantage in the lane. And hopefully he can transition that into some team fight plays, especially on the Illaoi and the Urgot. And we've seen him pop off on the Urgot before, getting a quadra kill at one point near a Baron pit by himself 1v4. So Stabable is definitely someone that I'm going to keep my eyes on, and I really hope he shines today.
I do as well, and as you mentioned, this could be the series for him to really stand out and shine, just because of the matchup. Like CSO might have one of those inconsistent performances, and then Stabable looks great, but at the same time, it could go the other way as well. Out of all the lanes, I do feel top is the most volatile. Like, it's the most seesaw. It could go either way, and especially as I'm hoping that we're going to be seeing more pressure coming out from Hames on that top side, whereas I think Embrace Darkness might be focused more mid and bot. This could be the Stabable show.
Yep, that is true. Especially with him being on the red side in the first game, I'm assuming Kenzo's Goons will save counter pick for top lane because of how volatile the matchup is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's either going to be safe for top lane or it could be safe for mid lane on the Pretender. He is the last person that I feel like we need to be bringing up about now because he's the only name we have not yet dropped, and he is a fun player to watch, if nothing else, coming out of Kenzo's Goons. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, if he gets Talon, he wins, and if he doesn't get Talon, it's a free lane, but I have found that not to be quite the case with him. He had an amazing Talia game, I believe it was, in the semifinals. Or was it? Yeah, I believe it was Talia. I could be wrong.
Because
I casted that game, and I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But he had an amazing mid game that was not on the Talon, not to mention the fact that I feel as a whole, when he's put sort of on these sort of safer mages, I want to call them, the more control mages, similar to what I want to see out of Gryffindor, actually. I feel he actually can hold his own quite easily. And when he's going up against a strong mid-jungle synergy that is Gryffindor and Embrace Darkness, I think it's more vital for him to actually play a safer lane as opposed to going something hyper-aggressive like the Talon.
Yeah, definitely. We started talking about Sean and Friends with their most inconsistent player, and we're ending talking about Kenzo's Goons with probably also the most inconsistent player. He's had some insanely pop-off performances on those champions that you mentioned, where he can be safe in the laning phase and then continue on. And I think we're getting into draft right now.
Yeah, well, it is now time to get underway, everybody. It looks like we will be having our matches after all, so a little bit of a false alarm, but not quite the worst thing in the world. We are in Pixar Bands. Once again, it is Sean and Friends on the blue side. It is Kenzo's Goons on the red side, and already we are seeing that Vi taken away from the Hames.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, in the video that we previewed earlier, Hames had some insane Vi performances going very deep. Lissandra almost at full health or something like that under her tower. He just goes in, doesn't care. He can definitely take over games with that Vi. And in response, Kenzo's Goons are banning the Jarvan, one of the early game junglers that I mentioned. And furthermore, we're seeing even more jungle focus with the Kayn ban taken away from Hames.
I don't actually like that one. I like the Vi ban. I like the Vi ban a lot. I'm not a big fan of the Kayn ban. I think Kayn's early game is something that is exploitable, and if you wanted to go for that hyper-aggressive team composition out of Sean and Friends, you want Hames on this Kayn, because it's much later until he gets involved for someone who likes to be such an early jungler. But when you look at Hames' champ pool, there are two names that stand out. It is Vi, it is Kayn. Hames is arguably, the focal point of the team, so why not just take that out of the equation completely? Also getting rid of the Nautilus from Talia. Sejuani going to be taken away from Embrace Darkness, but this is interesting. Nocturne left open. Will it be prioritized by Sean and Friends?
if I'm gonna be honest, I don't think the Nocturne will be taken unless they think of some synergy pick to take with it, like a Galio or maybe a Zillion. But I don't know, Nocturne is just not that strong right now. And if they do pick Sivir, it's a huge takeaway from Lady Gaga fan because his Sivir is a force to be reckoned with. But it is the Nocturne first pick.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That Nocturne on the right champion, like the right character behind the Nocturne just makes it strong. It doesn't matter where you might think Nocturne is in the meta. His ultimate should always be an execute on every 2 minutes or so when it is available. That said, Sivir's still available. I'm actually surprised it's not being taken just yet. Instead, Kenzo's Goons opting for the Vladimir.
I actually
And
think
the
the Vladimir
Morgana.
takeaway is a very smart thing to do because the Nocturne Vladimir combo, where Nocturne uses his ult, and then Vladimir can walk past any wards you have in your jungle and just get a free flank onto you. I think it's very smart that they take away Vlad from CSO 67, and both top laners actually have Vladimir in their champ pool. So I think it's really good to take that away. As for the Morgana, I think it's a preemptive counter pick to those engaged supports we were talking about.
It definitely seems like it should be. I'm surprised to see the Kai'Sa picked up. I would have preferred to see the Sivir out of Sean and Friends, just knowing their style. That said, though, Lady Gaga fan is a very strong Kai'Sa player, so it's a bit of a, we're going to take this, we're going to show you that we can play late game AD carries and grab a Leona as well. So maybe it won't be that late game. Maybe they're going to see a lot of aggression out of the Kai'Sa coming into this one.
Yeah, I think seeing, once I saw the Leona, I understood why they took that Kai'Sa pick. It's because in the early game, having two different forms of CC on that support can stack up the Kai'Sa passive really quickly, get that burst damage out as soon as possible. And in response, they are picking the Ezreal. With the Morgana, that's a very safe lane. As well as Vladimir top or mid, it can be flexed, but both of those lanes are like impossible to gank. Even with the Nocturne ultimate, these champions are incredibly safe. And I really like the direction that Kenzo's Goons are taking once they saw the Nocturne pick.
Yeah, I like what they're doing as well. They're definitely playing around the Nocturne so far. And they're also kind of forced a bad pick, I feel, out of Sean and Friends. Yes, Leona can stack a lot of damage with that Kai'Sa. Like, you know, you have the synergies there. But Leona into Morgana is a, like, traditionally terrible matchup for Leona. And as well as you have the elusiveness of the Ezreal, I think at this stage, you are absolutely correct. Kenzo's Goons are laughing through this fix and bans right now. It's like we have answers to everything that Sean and Friends are trying to throw at us. As we get through more bans, guess what? It's more jungle bans. Jax, Hecarim, although this time it's probably because, they're just straight up jungle bans.
Yeah, Hecarim definitely a jungle ban. Jax is more at CSO 67 since the Nocturne's already be chosen as a jungler. And I'm not sure if I agree with the Zoe pick. I mean, the Pretender does play Lux, so having the Lux counter pick into Zoe could, like, they could have just saved the Zoe ban and banned something else from CSO 67.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised by that one as well. I'm not entirely sure a Zoe would really be the correct pick necessarily as well for what Sean and Friends are putting together. That said, you know, Zoe Nocturne is very synergistic. If a Sleepy Trouble Bubble hits, that is a dead target in the mid lane. Xin Zhao, though, is going to be taken by Haim, so that's more of that aggressive early game tempo controlling jungling we were hoping to see out of this man. I'm curious now because it's only time for the solo laners left for Sean and Friends. Urgot would not be too much of a surprise for CSO 67, so a comfort pick there. But what will Gryffindor be taking? That is the big question.
Yeah, as a blind pick, I definitely think the Orianna is one of those he could potentially take. Oh, even though Talon is left up on the table, but I don't think Kenzo's Goons will take the Talon unless they have a really good matchup for it, because it doesn't really work well with their team composition. They need more frontline champions.
The Anivia is going to be hovered, and the Anivia will be locked in, so definitely a unique pick. I do like it. Its synergy with Nocturne is all right. It's more a case of, you know, can that wall be positioned to really stop any form of escape? Corki might be the response, though.
The Anivia is definitely not something I've seen out of Gryffindor before, but I definitely do like it. I mean, you see the Xin Zhao, you definitely think that he's going to be looking for a mid lane, looking to get the mid laner behind, especially if it's Gryffindor. So getting that Anivia, who once it's level 6 can just sit behind the mid lane wall and just throw her ult down and wave clear, and then scale to late game. I think that definitely rounds out Sean and Friends composition pretty well. And in response, the Lysandra from the Pretender, one of his comfort picks, also looking to transition into a late game team fight presence rather than having early game domination.
Yeah, I think the other reason why I like this Anivia pick coming out of Sean and Friends as well is because it does give them that sort of late game wave clear that their team composition was like heavily lacking before this, especially opting to go with the Urgot in the top side. Anivia late game is just, you see wave gone, more gold for me. Yes, please, yum, yum, yum. Continuing onwards, though, something that worries me out of Sean and Friends is where is Embrace Darkness going to go with this Nocturne? Ganking of Vladimir is the worst thing in the world because, you ulti on him and he just immediately pools and, okay, fail gank. Similar with the bot lane situation, Ezreal Morgana, doable if they're pushed forward, but at the same time, it can be tricky. You have to really, keep track of summoners, keep track of abilities, wait for them to make a move, and then sort of counter-engage with the ultimate. And then mid lane Lysandra, she can just, sort of protect herself, buy some time for Xin Zhao. Really, the only target for Embrace Darkness, and this isn't the worst thing in the world, is Hames, who I was hoping he'd be targeting initially at the start. So if Embrace Darkness is able to shadow Hames and always act on that counter gank with the paranoia, I think that would be fantastic.
I agree. My only issue is that he can't really do any sort of invades or jungle pressure, and definitely can't contest scuttle because mid lane, the Pretender should have priority before level 6, because Anivia's early game wave clear, not exactly the best thing in the world. So hopefully he can find other ways to pressure Hames, like you said, maybe by shadowing him. Overall though, these lanes, like the fact that they're not really that gankable, actually favors Sean and Friends rather than be that much of a huge disadvantage, because Xin Zhao doesn't scale very well into late game. Once it's 20-25 minutes, he's more of just an engage bot, and then, I don't know, dies. That's just what his role is. But the Nocturne late game, the ultimate can be very powerful, and his backline threat is huge. So even if both junglers don't really have lanes to gank, they have camps to take, and for one jungler, the camps are just much more valuable.
Definitely could be the case. Like, I'm curious to see if this game will even get to that late of a game. However, I feel each of these teams do have potential to snowball quite heavily while sort of maintaining, yes, there are late game threats. Obviously, Vladimir is the late game split pushing monster, but at the same time, you have this Anivia. It's just a case of whoever has these early advantages and can capitalize them. If they can take that into the late game, I think they're going to find themselves so far ahead. We could be looking actually at a 25-30 minute game.
That's definitely true. So to supplement that, I think one of the biggest focuses that these teams should have this game is the Rift Herald. It can definitely break a game apart once they get that mid tower or they break top tower. Unlikely to be bot lane. I think having the Kai'Sa and Leona in that extended lane, in the shorter lane, and same for the Ezreal and Morgana, is probably beneficial. So leaving that tower up for as long as possible is their best bet. But breaking mid or top with Rift, especially before 14 minutes where the plate gold is so huge, is the best way to get one of those early advantages that you were talking about.
Yeah, it would be a great way for that to happen. That said, we are finally loading into the Rift. It's been a little bit of a wait, but at the end of the day, we are getting there. Unfortunately, there will be one more pause before we get into our game one, and that's just for sync-up issues, as the two of us will have to pause at 0 seconds, so we are all lined up before counting us in to the UNSW Rumble Final. Sean and Friends versus Kenzo's Goons. It is a best of 5. So we have a lot of league ahead of us. I'm excited to see where game one goes.
Yeah, and the runes are all pretty standard stuff. The only one that is definitely preference-based is the Anivia. The Comet is something that I've seen when people just want to scale into late game, don't want to do anything early game, and even takes the cleanse so that he's safe against Lysandra. But I actually like that decision by Gryffindor because I see a lot of Anivias going straight for the... Wait, is your spectate weird?
I am paused at 0 seconds. It's new arcade. The arcade patch
not just that. It looks like Okay.
Mine looks fine.
I don't know if I can describe it. It looks really squished. Oh man. I don't know.
That
what this
doesn't seem
is.
like a good situation for you. That said, though, do you think you are good to start?
You know what? I'll work with it.
You can feel free to
Alrighty.
restart. Honestly, we can give the spectator client a little bit
Are
of
you
time
sure?
to buffer up. Yeah.
Alright, I will quickly do a restart.
We will quickly restart and get into this as the viewers at home get a nice shot of, I'm assuming it's the red side fountain, and it's all arcadey. It's the worst DDR machine you've ever seen, a mix of it being giant, and there's just 5 arrows pointing in odd directions.
I mean,
Not sure.
if you had the talent to play it, then you're exceptional. So really, it's just a test of skill, isn't it?
You would need some giant feet.
I mean, I'm sure there's someone in the world that has giant feet.
Well, I'm sure there are multiple people, but do they play DDR?
We can teach anyone DDR. It's all a matter of just get good, you know?
No, I don't know. I'm bad at DDR. If you're saying you could teach anyone, you clearly have not tried to teach me the art of
No, dude, I can't even teach myself. That game is impossible to play.
It is ridiculous. How are we looking, by the way, in terms of...
I have to use OPGG to spectate, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that's a fun situation we have found
Yeah,
ourselves in.
as long as it works, it'll be okay.
Okay, that's no problem. Also, speaking of
Yeah.
DDR, it's so hard. But then you go into like the arcades and you see some Asian dude like just crushing like the hardest difficulty ever.
I know, right? Oh my god, seeing people pop off on it, and then I try the easy one, and I can't even like get 2 points or whatever. Can't even get like the basic limit. Can't even land one.
How much
I'm gonna
money
say ability.
like how much
Sorry.
money have you spent on that to actually get that good at that game, do you reckon?
I know, right? It's like, have you guys watched? You know, I forgot the name of it, but it's this anime about arcade, like fighting games, and like you see people like spend hours and hours just in a row on arcade machines without really doing anything else.
You guys ever been to Japan?
I wonder how much money that costs. No.
In Japan, there's so many arcades. It's like so huge over there in their pop culture.
What's that game they play with the ball?
The game with the ball?
It's it's like yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just
I think
gambling,
it's
dude.
there because they can't gamble.
Yeah.
Gambling is illegal. So
Is
you
it
have
just
to
gambling?
Yeah, it is. It is.
I
But
see, I
it's
see.
not.
Okay.
You know, kind of like how loot boxes are now, was it surprise mechanics?
Right, yeah, gotcha.
How's the loading going, by the way?
Pachinko is...
I am in, but I'm at 110, so you guys play, and I'll let you know, and just let me know when you're at 110, we can play.
All right, I will count us in then in 3, 2... I'll say, you know, I was about to do a boo-boo. On 1, we will be ready to go. So 3, 2, 1. On the Rift, we are go. 3, 4, 5?
Yep,
6.
all good.
Okay, fantastic. Summoners are loading in after we have counted, and here we go. Unfortunately, I kind of be solo casting at the start of this one. As you were mentioning before, pretty standard runes and masteries. I'm a little disappointed in the Lethal Tempo Nocturne and not the Electrocute. I know Lethal Tempo is the more conventional one, but when I play Nocturne, I say to hell with convention. I go Electrocute for that pop.
Definitely electrocute.
Oh, standard point defense coming out of both teams.
Yeah.
36,
Yeah,
37,
pretty normal.
38.
Alright, cool.
Oh, I
Yeah,
might be a little bit ahead.
Nocturne is
Okay, I can pause it at 50.
Go ahead and count again. Can you count again? No, just keep
47,
going.
48,
What?
49, 50, 51, 52, 53.
Perfect.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
I am in sync with you right now.
Alright, when you're at 110,
Alright,
just say now, and I'll press play.
All right, don't worry. I will let you know when we are getting closer to 110. The moment people still standing, the 5-point defense, guarding that line of scrimmage, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, and
Perfect.
like that, league of counting should be done. It is now time for proper League of Legends.
That's right, we've outsmarted Riot, and now we'll see if the players can outsmart each other on the Summoner's Rift. We've got the Urgot and the Vladimir matchup, which is the one I'm definitely the most excited to see after laning phase, because in lane, let's be honest, it's going to be a farm fest.
Yeah, I'm actually excited to see pretty much the jungle matchup, I guess, in this one. Whenever there's a Nocturne, I just get super excited. I always like to compare other people's Nocturne pathing with my own. Where is he going to gank? How is he going to find ways to get some of these kills once he hits level 6? Because against the team composition that Kenzo's Goons has put together, it's going to be really difficult. And I'm curious how, you know, this Nocturne one trick essentially is going to be able to navigate it, because I'm sure he's seen situations like this before.
Yeah, an interesting path coming from him, going Red Raptors Krugs, which is normal for most junglers, but Nocturne isn't exactly an early game ganker, so I would have expected Red Krugs into Raptors and then doing his topside afterwards. But if he goes topside now, it's going to be a very inefficient path because he has to walk past the camps he's already cleared. Maybe he's looking to contest Scuttle, or maybe a bot lane gank if he's daring.
That's what I'm thinking. It might have been a bot lane gank in the works. I feel people who sleep on the level 2 Nocturne gank deserve what's coming to them. Because if you're able to stick on someone long enough to drop that fear, you will actually probably get a summoner spell, if not a kill. That said, is mid lane going to be the focus? Good little sidestep, but stun in place, and here comes that fear we were talking about. Big wall off of the fear, and First Blood already going to embrace darkness.
Wow, that stun by Gryffindor was really good. He waited until the claw was almost at the end, and then he threw the Q, double tapped it, and got the stun. The claw was gone, and the fear came through, and the Pretender had no way out. If anything, he should have saved his flesh.
And this was exactly, you know, what we were talking about. I was happy. You cannot sleep on the level 2 Nocturne gank. It is surprisingly deadly, especially when you have, you know, a good synergistic matchup like you do with the Anivia wall. It sort of ensures that that fear is going to be able to land. The summoner spell also used by the Pretender, flash down, teleport down as well. Huge advantages right now for Sean and friends.
Yeah, Nocturne's early game clearing is not to be slept on. I mean, he did those camps in very short amount of time, the same time it took Zinzao to do his blue side camps and then path to Raptors. So the fact that he got level 3 off those 3 camps and then instantly went mid, definitely Sean and friends Kenzo's Goons were not expecting that, and that's why the Pretender got caught in that gank. And the lethal tempo early game, like, it makes up for so many of Nocturne's weaknesses. The fact that he is a burst champion early, the fact that he can't really he doesn't really have any sustained damage either. Like, he kind of just gets a fear, right? That's his early game thing. But with the lethal tempo, he just keeps attacking you, keeps getting the passive resets, and just wails you down to 0 health.
Something else that I really liked about that entire play that just happened actually came from the top lane as well. CSO held on to his ward until very late, and as the play was getting set up, that's when he opted to drop it in the river just below the tri-bush, because he knew, okay, if our jungler is going to be making a play in mid lane, they might try and do the return gank up top where I am. So he already had that visioned up, knew he was safe to push forward. There was no opportunity for Hames to like make something happen in another lane as a result.
Yeah, I obviously didn't see the first minute of the game. I'm not sure if they knew where Hames started, but if they did and they knew he started bot side, then that ward is even better, because that's exactly around when the Zinzao would be finishing his topside camps. So if they knew that he was starting blue, then that's just a great ward by CSO67.
Yeah, it's great setup and great play coming out of Sean and friends. So already a small advantage. We'll be curious to see how it snowballs. This is the point of the game usually where Nocturne does start to focus more on power farming unless a very clear opportunity presents itself. With the first Drake being a Cloud Drake as well, I doubt we're going to be seeing anything crazy over it unless like there's a lot of pressure secured. And it appears as if, you know, my words are being eaten. Embrace Darkness coming in for the gank. Talia forced to flash away to get out of the fear. Amir's Love kind of snared in place from the Dark Binding. No one will go down this time.
Yeah, and they waste 2 flashes to escape from that, whereas the side of Sean and friends only burn 1 flash to get the engage from the Leona, and they're now getting Gryffindor's help, Embrace Darkness's help to shove the wave in so that they can reset. The Satan Blaze, he's sitting on 1.4k gold. That's enough for a BF sword, but they seem to be setting up for Dragon before they back.
Yep, so they are setting up for the Dragon right now, and they should be getting this uncontested. I have to admit, already, I'm a little bit disappointed with the shot calling coming out of Kenzo's Goons. I think this was a prime opportunity to try and make a play happen on the top side of the map. You have mid control, you have everything warded along that river. You had a jungler on the top side of the map as well. And with Gryffindor having to back and with no teleport available, that was the opportunity for the Pretender to roam up with Hames and try and make a play happen onto CSO 67. Instead, they actually concede that Cloud Drake and don't get anything back in return. At the moment, tempo in this game is just being dominated by Sean and friends, in particular, Embrace Darkness.
Yeah, that's what we expected coming to the game. The only thing that we thought might tip the favor in Kenzo's Goons is the fact that the Lissandra gets that pressure and that priority early, but Embrace Darkness's gank level 3, forcing him to blow flash. He can't step past river anymore without expecting another gank, and now the Anivia gets level 6 for free without getting any pressure whatsoever from the side of Kenzo's Goons, and because of that, he has his ultimate now. Like I'm saying, he's doing it right now. He just wave clears and then walks away, and he doesn't fall into threat of a gank, and isn't really fearing for his life. And with Embrace Darkness just hitting 6 right now, has the ultimate, is either going to look bot or hang around mid lane. If Gryffindor gets ganked, he has the egg, and Embrace Darkness will fly in and save him. But he is looking
has to be careful right here. You don't really want to invade a jungle without help against a Nocturne, and this is why. Out comes the Paranoia. Fortunately for the Pretender, he's going to be able to claw away successfully. Good spell shield. The fallout from Darkness is there, and this might actually turn it into a kill. Pretender buying some time, but Amir's Love has been able to rotate up. The wall buys a bit more time. Pretender is not going to get it out of this one. Gryffindor secures the kill.
Gryffindor played that so well. He held the wall so long until he was absolutely sure that it was necessary to place it down, and disrupting the movement pathing from the Pretender, stopping him from getting to that tower and letting Amor's Love get in range to get the stun. And this is exactly what I want to see out of Sean and friends. Focusing that volatile matchup in the mid lane, the inconsistent player in the Pretender, and he's already 2 deaths down, as well as almost 1,000 gold. I believe that's 750 if I'm good at maths. 750 gold down at 8 minutes, 9 minutes is not something that is easy to come back from, especially on a pick that like Lissandra, who's just supposed to be a wave clear mage late game and a flanking / engage / disruption sort of champion. So having that gold deficit already, especially against an Anivia who puts out so much damage when she's ahead, is going to be really scary for the side of Kenzo's Goons.
Yeah, and I really have to question the Pretender's decision-making in that situation. It was such a dangerous ward to clear, not knowing where Embrace Darkness is, and knowing that he's probably going to be at level 6 right now. When I was looking at the map, there was no help that was going to be able to come from anyone. Every single lane was shoved in. Their jungler, I believe, had actually recalled back to the fountain, so not even Hames was going to be able to show up. It was such a almost boneheaded high-risk play, and unfortunately for the Pretender, he got punished for it. And this is sort of those mental mistakes that I was worried was going to follow Kenzo's Goons from the semifinals to this final.
Yeah, and these sort of things are very common at this level of play. People see, oh, I can get an advantage here, I can clear vision, I can secure my own vision, but they don't think more than that, where is the enemy team? Where is my team? Am I strong right now? What items do people have? And you see a lot of people getting caught just for auto-attacking a ward. So overextending like that is really scary for the Pretender, who was already behind from that level 3 gank from Embrace Darkness. And now you see CSO67 shoving the wave top, invading for that vision, but he knows he's safe to do that because they've seen, they know that the topside camps are gone, because if the path by Xin Zhao was linear and followed that respawn timers, then he should be hanging around bot side now.
Oh my gosh, this damage out of Gryffindor. It's quite huge. Pretender trying to buy some time, trying to do the self-ult, but I believe the damage from the Anivia might be there. Hames is there for the counter engagement. Here comes Embrace Darkness, following that Xin Zhao, not allowing him to successfully catch out Gryffindor. And this tower may pay the price. Embrace Darkness, actually, yeah, he's not going to chase up. Oh! Ultimate just missing out of CSO 67.
I saw CSO 67 on the minimap, and I was waiting for it. I was hoping he would get that. I was hoping he would get that ultimate off and land it on the Pretender, but unfortunately the Phoebe on death does not come through. It would have been very cool play to see. And now it's debatable or Stabbable is just free farming top. He actually does not have a CS advantage, which is surprising. He's 20 CS down against the Urgot. It's very unfortunate for the Vladimir, who's their late game insurance.
Yeah, it's not a good situation for Stabbable, but it is something that you do expect in the matchup. Meanwhile, huge Zenith Blade going towards Lady Gaga fan, forced to, kind of arcane shift backwards defensively. Big True Shot Barrage does a good chunk of damage onto Satan's Blaze, will disengage for now.
Yeah, birding the flash again, trading the flash on the Leona is not nearly as terrifying as burning the flash on the Ezreal. So I hope that Embrace Darkness can capitalize on this in the future.
Pretender as well, just getting harassed more and more so in that mid lane. Hames, you can't step forward into this one. You could get jumped upon. Satan's Blaze leading the charge. Hames trying to get away. Good Black Shield buys a bit of time, but it's not enough to save the champion completely.
Yeah, I feel like Kansas Goons are just breaking down. They should calm down and just breathe, Like, think about what their next steps are, yeah? They have the late game insurance of the Vladimir. They have the Ezreal who, yeah, sure, he's a mid-game ADC, but if you can get him ahead in that mid-game, he can definitely, snowball a lead. So they should just calm down, give up what they have to give up. There's a lot of plays here that are being forced out of Kansas Goons that aren't necessary for them to do.
Yeah, it's getting worse and worse, I feel like, for the Goons as well. 100% kill participation, by the way, on Embrace Darkness. Coming into this questioning, how is he going to be effective against the kind of team composition that Kenzo's Goons put together? And so far, it's been a case of, synergizing with that mid laner. One of the key points that we thought that, Schadenfreude was going to have to do if they wanted to win this game in series, as well as attacking Hames when he steps out of position. So, Embrace Darkness playing this matchup to near perfection.
Yeah, he's doing a lot better than, a lot more than I thought he would actually be able to do on this Nocturne pick. So I'm very impressed by the way he plays it. I mean, as a Nocturne main, I'm sure he's played this matchup endless times, especially when Xin Zhao was a very prominent pick just about 2 or 3 months ago. He was being picked in almost every competitive game. And I'm really interested to see how he builds. He is going with the Serrated Dirk and the Merc Treads, trying to circumvent the CC coming out from the Lissandra and from the Morgana, which will stop him from doing the backline dive that he's intending to do.
That said, though, Hames right now is actually finally looking to get a gank off on his own. He has the flank set up onto Gryffindor, biding his time, but he needs to be careful. Embrace Darkness lingering as well. Hames has now just been spotted out. With that, a bot lane roam as well could be coming up top. I believe they're actually more focusing that Scuttlebug with the bot lane shoved in. Gank averted in the mid lane. So Hames just not able to get anything off. Embrace Darkness really taking it to him.
I mean, even if he wasn't spotted, Embrace Darkness was hanging around that mid lane, probably had the game sense that, hey, the Xin Zhao might be looking for a mid gank on this immobile champion. And even if Hames was not spotted, the ultimate from the Nocturne will just come out so quickly as a response, and there's not much the side of Kenzo's Goons can do. But now he is looking for a bot lane play, but Kenzo's Goons are playing so safely because they don't have their flashes available. Well, Talia
here comes the engage regardless. It's the target this time. What's going to be Lady Gaga, and the follow-up damage is enough to bring him down. Talia buying some time with the stopwatch tower actually returns the kill onto Darkness, so that's a bit of a shutdown going over to Talia. In the end, though, a double kill for Satan Blaze.
Overall, that was a favorable play for Sean and friends, but I do feel like they forced it a bit too much. I mean, he was already exerting so much pressure just by being there, and his topside camps, even though they're somewhat worthless, Gromp and Wolves are kind of, whatever, they were spawning, and if he wasn't able to do the gank without losing his life for it, then I think he should have just maybe reset on the gold that he had and go back to clearing and then look for another opportunity to do it. But they do get the bot lane tower as a after effect of that play.
Yeah, so bot lane tower is secured. Yes, the jungler goes down, but I kind of feel that coincides with the Nocturne mindset of go, 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 go. You don't want to go into late game because similar to Xin Zhao, Nocturne does kind of become like a one-use champion past 30 minutes. Really, you want to be controlling the game from the 12-minute mark to like the 28-minute mark and just sort of shutting down all side lanes, blowing up any sort of backline, and then maybe later into the game you could be a bit of a frontline distraction. You don't want it to get to that, though. You just want to strike fear in your opponents. He's really one of those few champions whose kit, I feel, matches the playstyle and like the aesthetics as well.
Yeah, as in the theme of the champion matches their kit. Yeah, definitely agree with that. And I like the late swap from Sean and friends. As soon as they get bot tower, you see CS67 pushes his wave, resets, and now they go get the Rift Herald, they drop it down top lane, and they're breaking another tower not even 2 minutes after they took the first one.
And the timing of it's really unfortunate as well for Kenzo's Goons. You can see they were kind of grouping up to maybe put pressure somewhere, but in the end, instead of opting to like put that pressure into the bot lane, they're actually trying to play reactively and rotate top. That was a long walk. Ultimate used by Embrace Darkness, and here comes the team fight. Amira's Love blows up Haynes, a huge wall, walling up everyone as well from Kenzo's Goons, so it's 2 kills quickly going to the blue side.
Yeah, you saw 4 people from Kenzo's Goons chilling in the bot lane. I mean, why not just go collapse on CSO67, the dragon spawning in 30 seconds from when they were there, just go get that kill, get the tower from bot lane, and then collect the dragon afterwards. Now, Sean and friends get the dragon for free when they should have just had the Rift Herald and the top lane tower. I mean, Stabbable was there to stop the Rift Herald, if not slow it down. And I just think the reactive play by Kenzo's Goons, especially when they're on the other side of the map, is the reason they all got caught in the jungle.
Yeah, there was no reason to move that far and be that telegraphed with what you were doing. As you take a look at the map, everything is just lit up right now for Sean and friends, and it's just not looking good for Kenzo's Goons in this game one. Already about 7k down at 18 minutes and 28 seconds. 2 Mountain Drakes as well going over to their opponents. Sean and friends with the lead with those Mountain Drakes. Baron at 20 minutes is all of a sudden a very serious threat. This is looking disastrous for the red side.
Yeah, especially with a Kai'Sa on your team and has the Rage Blade completed, that Baron with the 2 Mountain Drakes will disappear as soon as they start it. So Kenzo's Goons need to get some vision there, or at least have top lane priority and send your Vladimir bot lane to wave clear. He has teleport. CSO67 does not, so if they do anything fancy around Baron, you could maybe collapse on it, but you can't give that away for free at all, because it goes, they can, Sean and friends can burst it down so quickly, and it becomes very hard to react to.
It definitely does. Things we have to be taking note of at this stage, though, are the teleports. All 3 of them currently available for Kenzo's Goons, so they do have the ability to react to Baron on a whim. I don't think Sean and friends are going to be willing to fully commit to this Baron until at least a couple of those teleports are gone. That said, the best way to get them out is to sort of bait the Baron and force them to react. I feel any team fight right now will definitely go in the way of Sean and friends, especially with the amount of crowd control that has been coming out of Amira's Love. His ultimates have been on point. Gryffindor's walls as well has just been great in these team fight situations. So at this stage, yeah, Sean and friends can really start to play Kenzo's Goons like a puppeteer and a puppet master.
Yeah, and this is one of those times in the game where having 3 teleports is ultimately a waste of at least one of them, because you have 2 people in the side lane. What is the 3rd teleport in mid gonna do, as we see the Pretender taking a huge trade?
Yeah,
CS67 does not land the first part of the Fear Beyond Death.
No, the Fear Beyond Death didn't really quite land. The Dark Binding as well hit the wrong target, so we're not going to be seeing a fight just yet. Siege continuing as CSO67 is rotating back to the bot lane, trying to keep pressure on multiple lanes so that, you know, Kenzo's Goons don't even have a foot to stand on. Good sidestep from Sage Blaze right there to avoid that Dark Binding as the tower does fall in the mid lane, so a successful siege coming out of Sean and friends, the wave clear from Gryffindor, the just enabling them to keep going wave after wave after wave to pound into that mid lane. And now they're rotating towards Baron, as we can see. Haynes stepped a bit too far forward, has to use the ultimate defensively. Ooh! Cheeky play by Amira's Love, actually. He's still going for it. The Void Seeker does connect, but we're not going to be seeing the follow-up engage from Satan Blaze.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. If Embrace Darkness just popped the spell shield before he went in, then he wouldn't have been knocked back, but maybe it wasn't available, or probably just didn't have the like he probably thought the Zinzao ult was not up or something like that. But like you were saying, with the wave clear from Gryffindor and them chunking out the Pretender very early, there was nothing Kenzo's goons could do about that mid lane siege, even if they wanted to. So it was actually really good by Sean and friends to capitalize on the fact that that there was no way for Kenzo's goons to counteract their push.
I
And now
also
that
have to give.
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I was just gonna say, I also want to give credit to Hames in that interaction for having, you know, the mindset to hold on to Flash. I believe Hames is so critical at the moment because if he goes down, that is Baron almost guaranteed to be given up towards Sean and friends. And Flash is going to be such a critical ability when this inevitable Baron fight does go down. So that being able to hold on to it, rely on the ultimate instead for the disengage, something that is on the shorter cooldown. Very smart play. Like already, you know, by the time he gets back and rejoins his team, that ultimate will be up again.
Yeah, definitely, and it's really, like you said, it's very critical that he held on to the Flash, especially when you have Embrace Darkness and Aimer is Love and Gryffindor, not Gryffindor, Satan Blaze, all able to follow someone into the backline after they've used their defensive abilities. So Hames throws ult, knocks him back, but then people can follow him afterwards, and like we saw Aimer's Love try to do by landing the ultimate after the Zinzao ulti. So really smart, like you said, to hold on to the Flash. Actually very brave for him to...
Oh, this could be that wombo combo team fight though. The chain CC comes down and 3 members from Kenzo's goons are eaten alive. A big double kill for Gryffindor, and this should be Baron.
That was amazing by Gryffindor, landing a 3-man stun with the Anivia Q. I mean, the width of that skill shot is not even that big. I don't know how he found that, but just what can you do? All 3 of you get stunned, you're just dead. The ability for Sean and friends to capitalize on that is so fast, and they're so mobile when it comes to engaging that there was nothing Kenzo's goons could do in response to a misstep and getting hit by that Q.
No, there was nothing they can do, and the punishment is going to be Baron on 5 members strong for Sean and friends. This could be a chance, though. Kenzo's goons, they might be looking for that re-engage. Hames goes in, but is immediately turned around upon and blown up. The Dark Binding Dome connects onto Same's Blaze, and without that Kaisa, I don't think this is a fight that the blue side won. CSO, though, is in super deep. He's trying to break apart that backline. Talia has to be careful. Low health bars. Lady Gaga fan looks to re-engage. CSGO actually flashing forward to get the kill on the Pretender. This man is a one-man army within the outskirts of the red side base. He gets the double, and Talia has to run away, or else it might be a triple. Meanwhile, Gryffindor trying to wall Stabbable in place. A big stun does not connect, as the pool is there. Talia still trying to survive on such a sliver of health. Gryffindor wants it. It is a hungry bird of prey. Gets the slow and the stun down on the Stabbable, but the Black Shield will buy some time. Sidestepping the Dark Binding, and a stopwatch will secure Stabbable's doom, or will it? The pool actually gets the kill onto Amir's Love before he falls himself.
Yeah, CSO 67 must have been watching the semi-finals, saw Stabbable do a 1v4 Urgot play when the enemy team was all below 50% HP, and CSO 67 said, you know what, I can do it better. I'm going to go into the backline, they're all full health, I'm going to 1v2, and I'm going to get the kills, I'm going to put the rest of the team low so that we can clean up afterwards, and he just solo carries that fight after it looked like it was doomed for Sean and friends. And this is the kind of play we're talking about from CSO 67. He's either that amazing like 1v9 player who just carries your team fight, or he has those moments where he doesn't look so hot, and it's so good for Sean and friends that this is one of the games that he's absolutely popping off on that Urgot pick.
Yeah, I mean, that was his moment to shine, you know. 24 minutes of just winning lane, finally coming through when he puts himself in a 1v3 situation and comes out on top. I do want to give credit to Talia, though, for not only surviving that entire exchange, but hitting a couple key Dark Bindings, in specific, that one on Satan Blaze to start the entire ordeal off. If that had not happened, and Hames had died for nothing, that could have been game over. So Talia definitely did their job in keeping this game extended. But Baron is still strong on the side of Sean and friends, and the siege is still continuing. Keep your eyes on Hames. He's probably going to be looking for yet another flank. Dark Shield has already been used on Talia, though, so they really don't want this fight right now. And the Pretender is kind of the one who's not available. He is stuck on Urgot defense duty to try and keep the side lanes there. And super minions as well pouring into the base. There's going to be an opening soon for Sean and friends. Who is going to take it?
This is definitely the do or die moment for Kenzo's Goons. If they don't stop them here, they may never stop them. So a fight is definitely brewing, and I can see maybe Hames going in onto that top lane or engaging bot with the Vladimir.
Yes. CSO is the target. Two members have been stepped up to try and take him down, but he is doing so much damage to the Pretender, there's really nothing they can do. Here comes the Paranoia, and the Pretender gets deleted. Meanwhile, down below, it is the Nexus towers that are being threatened by the rest of Sean and Friends, forcing a defensive play out of Kenzo's Goons. They're hiding around the fountain. They're waiting for any possible moment to possibly make the save, but in goes Satan's Blaze. He gets the kill on the Gaga fan. The second Nexus tower goes down, and that will be game number 1 going to Sean and Friends.
That's it. That is game 1. It's going to the blue side. Sean and Friends taking over the game from minute 1. And like you were saying, those small advantages early game are what builds up to this absolute domination in the mid to late game. Because these champions that have these lanes that are very stable and not very volatile, except of course the top lane matchup, but in mid and mid with the safe control mages, and in bot lane with the Ezreal Morgana, those lanes are not supposed to go the way that they did. So Embrace Darkness definitely the deciding factor in this game.
Yeah, he came up huge, but you don't want to downplay, I feel, Gryffindor as well. We saw that amazing pick play that enabled the Baron when he hit 3 members with the stun, and they just turned that pop Baron. I mean, it was beautifully set up with the vision kind of acting as a trap. The entire team was clearing the same control ward. Gets jumped upon, kill secured, Baron secured, game secured. So, and CSO, credit to him as well. The 1v3 performances he was putting on towards the end of that game was fantastic. And the result is a blue side victory. On that note, Sean and Friends up 1-0.
Yeah, Sean and Friends are looking in prime position to take the rest of the series. I mean, after that game 1, Kansas Goons are gonna do some mental gymnastics for them to not feel the pressure and the tilt from that early game Nocturne just doing so much work, as well as the lanes of Sean and Friends winning just naturally, especially in that top lane island. CSO 67 was 20 CS up on Vladimir like 10 minutes into the game, which is not the way that lane is supposed to be going. So really strong play coming out of Sean and Friends. I hope Kenzo's Goons can recover and maybe pick more early game focused champions that can take over a game early, because Sean and Friends mechanically and in terms of macro as well, I feel are definitely the better team. So having that, hey, we'll let you scale if you let us scale sort of team comp is not going to work for them. I really want to see some pick champions, especially from mid lane, maybe a Lux or even a Morgana with her late game bindings, and then in the bot lane have 2 champions that can dominate lane, because those 2 players, Lady Gaga fan and Talia, are if not like they're evenly matched, if not better than the side of Sean and Friends. So I'm expecting Kenzo's Goons to put a little more focus on that bot lane while keeping top the same way that it was, because the scaling top lane is something that is pretty standard at the moment with the top lane meta, especially with the mages that are in both players' champion pools. So we might see something more in line with that gameplay.
That said, though, these questions won't be answered until we get into game number 2. I believe we are having a quick break before we get into that one, just giving the time for the players and ourselves a bit of rest. But there will be more League of Legends happening very soon, so please stick with us here at the UNSW Rumble Grand Final.
So
we'll be getting into it shortly.
Yeah. You expecting anything different out of draft next? Especially since
out of draft,
are they switching sides?
Yeah, they are.
Yes.
Judge? Okay, cool.
Sides have been switched, so obviously we're going to be seeing a different draft.
Yeah.
That said, though, what I am expecting to see a bit differently out of this one, first and foremost, no Nocturne. I don't see a world where Embrace Darkness gets that Nocturne again. Definitely. As we are actually going into our picks and bans right now, with the side swapped, I want to see Nocturne banned first, right here, right now, by Kenzo's Goons. Make that statement ban, but nope, they go for the Ari instead.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with the Ari ban. I mean, I remember they were talking about it, and I was talking to some of the players individually, and Ari was definitely one of the picks that they said they were most likely banning, but I think they should just drop it. It's not as big of a threat as the rest of the champion pool on Sean and Friends. Like, the Jarvan is definitely a ban that I would keep. The Nocturne is something I would adapt to after that game 1.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe ban CSO 67 or take one of his picks away. I just don't agree with the Ari ban very much at all.
Yeah, it's giving a lot of respect to Gryffindor, but the problem is I feel his champ pool is large enough that it doesn't really matter too much who he's on. He's still going to play wherever it is to its utmost ability. That said, Leona will be the last ban, so J4 may get left up. I wouldn't be surprised to see Hames actually take it away, perhaps, from Embrace Darkness, but no, they're going to go for the Nautilus instead. It was banned away from Talia game 1. A quick secure this time for Kenzo's Goons.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised by that. I mean, Sean and Friends just didn't. They banned the Nautilus last game because they had the Leona as a replacement for Nautilus. But now that it's Kenzo's Goons on the blue side, they're like, yo, we're cutting out the Leona from you. We're taking the Nautilus for ourselves. What are you going to respond with to this engage, CC, like really prominent bot lane pick?
Yeah, I'm curious what we're going to see as well. I mean, the Kaisa was selected at first. I'm not sure I really like that pick. I actually probably would have liked, if you're going to go an AD carry, a Zaya in this situation. I feel that suits Satan's Blaze playstyle a bit more. Speaking of Zaya, though, look what gets locked in response.
That's not too surprising, seeing the Jarvan. But honestly, from the side of Sean and Friends, I would have more expected the Ezreal, really, because I don't think the Zaya is too prominent in Satan Blaze's champion pool. So seeing the Ezreal, same as last game, or like I guess a switch from last game, would have been nicer. But we do see the Zaya as a response from Kenzo's Goons. But the Jarvan actually was let through, I just realized. What do you think about Embrace Darkness picking that up?
I mean, he didn't get his Nocturne, right? So he's going to go to a fallback safe jungler. I feel like Embrace Darkness and I have the exact same jungle pool. I really do. Because I'm a jungle main myself. I'm a Nocturne main myself. And when I don't get Nocturne, well, I go Jarvan. If I can't get Jarvan, all right, the Sejuani, that's a tank. It doesn't matter if I, misposition. I won't die anyways. Very similar jungle mindset. So I'm really not surprised to see the J4 taken by this.
He may as well be the same person. And in response to that, we see Hames picking up the Amumu. His Vi and Kayn obviously banned. The Sejuani taken away as well. He falls back onto the Amumu onto that tank pick. But picking it into Jarvan is somewhat scary because the Jarvan has that early game pressure and that invading power that Amumu can't really withstand. Amumu's early game dueling is not the best, so I'm interested to see what Hames is going to do with the Amumu and what clear he will take to avoid the Jarvan invading him and messing with his clear.
Well, I do agree, while Amumu's one-on-one early game dueling is quite pitiful, his early game ganks are surprisingly strong just because of the lockdown he has if he hits a bandage toss. I think what Hames needs to be doing on this Amumu is playing a bit more follow the leader of Embrace Darkness, look for the counter ganks, look for opportunities to disrupt everything that Sean and Friends are going to be trying to establish in that early game, and then come late game, all of a sudden you become this monster. That said, that we are flying through these picks and bans. Vlad and Alawi taken away from the blue side. Urgot banned away from CSO 67, as well as the Jax. But the Ornn was left up, and we're actually going to be seeing something a bit different out of CSO 67, it looks like.
Yeah, his Vladimir, Jax, and Urgot are all taken away, and I don't think he wants to blind pick any of the squishy mages or blind pick any of the bruises that have bad matchups, which Stabbable can exploit with his champion pool. So Ornn is actually probably the safest tank blind pick other than Sion, I would say. So seeing the Ornn come out, especially with a team that has a Morgana and a Jarvan, engaging from a long distance away with the Ornn Call of the Forge God? Freljord? Call of the Freljord, my bad. Engaging with that ultimate from far away is so easy to follow with the Jarvan and with the Morgana, as well as the Kai'Sa ultimate. So the combo's already looking to be set up. All I can think now is for Gryffindor to pick up an Oriana to combo with the Jarvan.
Yeah, as we are waiting for this last pick to get locked in, Gryffindor might be returning back to that Anivia pickup. It was super strong in game number 1. I would almost give it the co-MVP because it was that mid-jungle synergy. And you know who else synergizes well with Anivia? J4, Cataclysm into the Glacial Blizzard. Ooh, that's a lot of damage that could be coming down from these two.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the big combos. My only issue is picking the Anivia into Corki is basically giving the Corki that free scaling that he wants. Corki's one of those champions where early game, unless you're like completely popping off with your junglers as backup, he's one of those champions that just wants to scale, get his first item, get his second item, each one being a power spike. And while it's the same for Anivia, I do think Corki scaling is actually better, not in terms of wave clear, but just in terms of mixed damage as well as burst and sustain from that champion. So I think picking something more like an Oriana or a Syndra into that Corki to pressure him early, not let him get his power spikes, probably would have been more potent. However, he did have a really great game on the Anivia, and if he can combo with that Jarvan effectively, he can definitely take over the game.
Yeah, I think that's more the rationale behind the Anivia pick. Although I do agree the Oriana J4, ball delivery system is quite formidable. I like this Anivia pick. First game, I was kind of questioning it, but he proved me wrong for sure. I mean, the wall placement was fantastic in game 1, so I'm excited to see what we can do in game 2. What I'm more excited to see, though, is what happens if Morgana gets banned. Do we see a Poppy support with the amount of wall-type strategies we've been seeing coming out of, Sean and friends? I feel like, if Embrace Darkness doesn't get this J4, maybe a Talia jungle might show up to go with the walls. Everything seems very constructive.
And just imagine, like, you have that Poppy support, and you have the Ornn Q building terrain, you have the Jarvan ultimate building terrain, you have the Anivia wall building terrain. It would be a field day.
Maybe a Trundle top as well, so you get that pillar.
Yeah, get the Trundle going. In fact, flex the Trundle to AD, so you can also have the Ornn pillar as well. Just get all the walls and have a Poppy there. But in all seriousness, I do think the draft is actually a lot more even this game than it was before. Top lane is a losing matchup for Sean and friends because the Nico does heavily poke out the Ornn, but he has the ability to buy items in lane, as well as he has the teleport and the wave clear to just sit on the tower. When he gets low, he can recall, teleport back up, and just keep getting that sustain and the items going. While Nico, I'm actually the thing that I'm most interested to see is if it's going to be the AP Nico or the on-hit build. We already have 2 marksmen on the side of Kenzo's goons, so another auto-attacking champion would be really interesting to see.
I don't see that happening. I feel like this is going to be your, sort of icy Nico. Gonna get
that's right, the Glacial. Definitely really good into the Jarvan as well, who wants to just run at your team. And with that build, actually a lot of synergy with the Amumu. If he lands a 3-4 man ultimate, maybe even a 5-man ultimate, if Sean and friends allow him to do that, he applies the passive with the bonus true damage to all of them, and if Nico hops in there and uses her ultimate as well, gets an AoE true damage, and the AP scaling on that thing is ridiculous. So adding the bonus true damage on top could be like really big for these team fights.
It's going to be almost mandatory, I feel like, for Kenzo's goons to layer their crowd control and their ultimates together and just lock down the members of Sean and Friends if they want to win these team fights, because anyone who steps out of position is going to go down. I feel the said though can be said in reverse. Like, really, both teams have like amazing wombo potential, and it's really whoever pulls the trigger correctly is going to win that fight. But if you pull the trigger incorrectly, you're going to get re-engaged on and you're going to lose. So as a result, I almost expect more passive play out of both these teams.
It's definitely true, but I mean, Corki and Zaya are such safe carries that getting engaged on those champions doesn't feel as bad as when you engage on the immobile Anivia or the Ornn that can't really walk out of your CC. So I think Kenzo's goons, in terms of disengage, do have it easier, even though there's not that much of it.
Yeah, they definitely have the better disengage, but what they've opted for in that disengage is less consistent, prominent engage. As I am pausing myself once again at 0 seconds. I will be waiting for you to pause as well, and hopefully we will be able to count ourselves in successfully the first time around. No one's going to get kicked out this time.
Yep, my game is not squished, so we are good to go.
All right, on one
Are
then.
we all at 0?
3.
Yep.
We are all at 0. So,
All right.
3, 2, 1. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Mine was not going like a second at a time. That 4 lasted a second and a half.
Yeah, just a little
11,
bit too long.
12, 13, 14.
Yeah, cool. All good for me.
All right, great.
Alrighty then.
Awesome, man. We're getting into game 2 of Sean and Friends versus Kenzo's Goons in 2019 LoLSoc
Corky.
Rumble. Corky did forget his items. That's pretty unfortunate. But he'll recover. Nothing major happening in the early game. No invades or anything like that. Honestly, I would have liked to see the teleport and the corrupting potion out of the Pretender, because you're not going to be able to kill this Anivia in lane. Very safe champion unless your jungler is there to gank you and like force that play. So we'll see how the early game pans out, but having the teleport and the corrupting potion on Corki is a much more scaling way to play that champion, which is what I was expecting from the Pretender.
It's a lot of respect being shown towards Gryffindor opting for the cleanse instead. It's like essentially conceding the fact, like, yeah, I'm probably going to get stunned once or twice this game. I might as well just take this, play this safe, and maybe I'll get more damage out in a team fight. Although I do agree, I think the teleport probably would have been more useful in terms of late game. That sounded beautiful. I just don't know how he'll be able to effectively lose the cleanse should his team fall behind like it did the first game around.
Yeah, that is true, which is why I was not really keen on seeing it, but that's fine. We are getting the Glacial Nico, Glacial Augment Nico. I was about to say Glacial Nico Augment. We are getting that rune on that champion, which is what we were expecting. Although, honestly, I would have liked to see the Electrocute on Anivia just so he can pressure this champion who doesn't have much early game going for him.
Yeah, that could have been fun to see as well. I mean, there's a lot of different routes that Kenzo's Goons could have taken. What they have opted for is probably the safer, almost more conventional option, especially how the last game went. Good snipe right there coming out of Amir's Love with that Dark Binding.
Yeah, that's a free 8 gold. 11 gold.
Yeah, even more with the follow-up autos. So, on that note, however, I'm worried that for someone like the Pretender, if he's starting to play defensively, this isn't the type of League of Legends he wants to.
Yeah, that is true, but you got to give the respect to Gryffindor, like you were saying. So, while I do think the cleanse was not... Oh, is he engaged?
Yeah, a bit of engage happening in the bot side right now. The Dark Binding starting that, but Amira's Love actually coming out worse for wear. Kind of stood in the front and took the brunt of Lady Gaga's fans' attack right now. Not the trade that the Goons really were looking for to start this one off. I'm sorry. More engage as well. Shot at Friends actually opting to drop that Ignite out of Talia onto Amira's Love. No one dying just yet.
I'm gonna be honest, I really do enjoy, I really like the way that Kenzo's Goons played that first engage, just getting all the damage off and disengaging instantly so that they don't take any return damage. That's how you should be playing against this Morgana and Kai'Sa, getting them low enough so that you can later on kill them or get your jungler to come help and help you push that lane after you get a kill. Yeah. But the second re-engage, I'm not too sure about that one. It was very deep into the enemy minion wave.
Yeah, we're all good. 35,
yeah,
36,
well.
37,
yeah,
38. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Cheeky little Riot client. It's odd little lag moments every now and then. For the most part, though, a pretty standard start. A bit of a roam right now from Hames. He's looking for that top side, walks over ward, so it will be spotted by CSO 67. A lot less action to start this one out. As I said that, Gryffindor getting a stun. Yeah, again, no real follow-up just yet. It's a cool, calm, collective game to start this one.
Yeah, pretty even creep score from all the lanes, which is kind of surprising, especially in top lane. Oh, okay. I'm on 12.
Keep counting, just keep counting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. And we're caught up right as the flag and drag coming out from Embrace Darkness. A bit of action happening towards the jungle. Not going to connect this time around, but it's good to know that our junglers are alive and do know how to gank.
And that's what I was saying with that Corki pick. Like, he's just so safe. He's almost impossible to gank, and the cleanse and flash on top of that, it's just... I don't think the Pretender can die at any point during this early game, especially with how close to his tower he's playing. And the best part is he doesn't even need to have priority because Amumu isn't an invading or aggressive jungler. As we see top lane taking a short trade, and Hames is looking for a mid lane gank, but opts out of it when he realizes that the enemy is backing. I don't know what I want to see from Hames now. I mean, the dragon is spawning right now. It is an air drake, so maybe not as much priority as the teams would want to put on if it was a mountain or a fire drake. But Hames is clearing his Krugs now. He will be somewhat half health when he's finished. I still think bot lane is gankable if he wants to look for it, especially with the engage that Nautilus provides and the follow-up from Amumu and Xayah with their follow-up CC.
CSO 67 in a lot of trouble right now. Stabbable. That harassed with the Tangle Barb's Pop Blossom, nearly bringing him down. Good resolve though, not burning flash this time, but is going to have to back and teleport back to lane. That was a near miss right there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about the on. Like, when you get that low, you're just gonna recall, go back, refill your corrupting potion, and come back to lane with your teleport, and you have the wave clear to pick up the wave that's crashing into your tower right then. He was sitting on 700 gold, so I'm surprised he didn't have a null magic mantle already. That would have circumvented a little bit of that damage coming out of Stabbable. But he does come back to lane with it, as well as boots. But Stabbable coming back with a lost chapter under his belt, that's going to be huge for the laning phase.
Yeah, that's going to be big for Stabbable. Also opting to walk back to lane as opposed to using the teleport. This is something that I wish more top laners would do, especially at this level, because this does mean there could be play potential on the opposite end of the map, a teleport advantage going in favor, but mid lane is where the action is right now. Gryffindor getting jumped on by Hames, has to flash defensively, so flash expelled from the mid lane, and here comes a bit of a counter engage actually. Embrace Darkness maybe going after the Pretender, flag and drag connects, one more auto will do it, the flash secures the kill, Hames will have to defensively flash as well.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. I think the Pretender was not sure that would hit him because he was actually on the other side of the flag, but it does have the hitbox of the knockup is actually Jarvan's body, not the Q. So even though he was on the other side of that flag, he still got knocked up, which is why he didn't burn his flash earlier to dodge it. So really unfortunate misread of the game mechanics by the Pretender there, and it results in him dying.
Yeah, that safe lane actually does go down. A huge first blood pickup for Embrace Darkness on the side of Sean and friends. I mean, should have been expected with the jungle matchup that it would be the J4 who comes out on top during the early game. But it was actually off of a failed gank out of Hames that the opportunity presented itself. So a little bit of a reverse in the sense of we were expecting, Hames to sort of counteract Embrace.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't want Hames to be making...
Oh no, this could be a very dead Nautilus. Talia kind of caught out trying to ward, gets the flash over the wall, but the chase is actually going to back away this time around.
Wow, I actually can't believe he lived there. Amon choosing not to blow the ignite. Probably thought it was a surefire kill, but you just gotta always put it down. You never know what's gonna happen, and a bit of a misplay on the part of Sean and friends, really.
Yeah, it wasn't the best situation that time around. At the end of the day, it is flash for flash, so both supports do use flash. Ignite will still be available for each of them as well, but with Talia having to back away, that should be a dragon for Sean and Fred.
Yeah, and the air drake is pretty useful, especially for that Jarvan early game, with him wanting to be everywhere on the map and counter ganking, as well as creating some ganks on his own, as we see. Like I was saying, with that lost chapter, Stabbable was doing so much work in that top lane. That Ornn unable to match any sort of pressure, but somehow still keeping up in farm. I don't know how CSO 67 does it.
Yeah, it feels like every time we take a look at this top lane, it's just stabbable, hitting those tangle barbs, dropping that harass down onto CSO 67. Case in point right there. Yet he's still able to farm safely underneath this tower, keeping himself in this game, and this really does not bode well for the Goons, only because, like, CSO, if he's unkillable now, it's only going to get worse later. Hames waiting on the flank though. Bandage Toss does connect. Under the tower we go. Pop Blossom does not connect as a quick flash out of CSO. It may not matter. Tower doing quite a bit of work to Hames though. They do switch the aggro around. Kill secured for the blue side.
I love that by Hames, not being afraid to go on the tower, as a lot of junglers are. They're too scared to get into the like meaty part of things and do what they should be doing. And Embrace Darkness probably wasn't expecting that at all, which is why there was no counter gank. Embrace was actually on the other side of the map, so really good tracking by Hames to realize this is a play that he could go for safely with his top laner, especially with CSO 67 being that low. And my game just jittered. Is yours okay? 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. I'm just like half a second behind.
I was like half a second ahead, so now I'm on pace though with the Dawn, so all should be good from the play-by-play perspective in this one.
Just
Very
count again real
important.
quick.
Yep. 26, 27, 28.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just like a second
Stun on the
behind.
Amumu. That's continuing right now. Actually, it's a Protector who could be in a bit of trouble. Flag comes down, no drag this time around. Looking at this game as a whole, though, a lot slower pace from the first time.
Yeah, I love
As
the
Dark Binding
play-by-play, trying to keep it going while we're syncing up.
Okay, still syncing up happening. Actually, a Void Seeker does connect on the Lady Gaga fan. Ultimate being used by Amir as well. That will connect with the Son of Featherstorm is used by Lady Gaga fan, but you can't Featherstorm that Cataclysm. Down goes Gaga, and this could be more as well. Blasting Cone trying to keep the members of the Goons alive. They're still running away from my Embrace Darkness. Flag and Drag again connects. Follow-up Dark Binding is there. Cleanse only does so much as Embrace Darkness gets yet another kill. 3 on this Jarvan. He may want more. Talia will be safe underneath the tower.
Yeah, that's a result of blowing that Corky flash early. Like, he uses the W there, and then he doesn't have the flash available, so that flag and drag from the Jarvan is guaranteed.
Oh
There's no way
my
he can
gosh,
skip it.
Gryffindor. The damage onto Talia right there with the wall and the ultimate. I thought that Nautilus actually was about to get frozen solid.
I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen that champion come out of Gryffindor, and I'm really happy that I haven't played against it, because that looks terrifying. And Nivea is actually one of my most hated champions to play against, because she has so much damage early, and then she scales well into the late game, and you just feel like you can't do anything. And I think that's how the Pretender is feeling, which is why they wanted to put him on a more scaling champion for this game.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad you're bringing the Pretender back up again. A little bit of a screen freeze. We will sync up probably right after this point is made, though. Started the game, the Pretender, he was a bit of the focus, like, okay, Corky into Anivia, this should be really good for him, right? Well, he's currently down 40 CS, 3 tower platings down as well, with not really that much help coming out of the junglers in this mid lane. Gryffindor is just another lane-dominating performance.
Yeah, this is exact. I'm at 27, 20. Okay, sure.
Yep. So we'll pause at 30.
All right, 31.
Yep, 31.
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. Yep. Awesome. So yeah, that's why I was not very happy that he didn't take teleport, because that cleanse, that was the first time he used it all game, even though he was already ganked beforehand. It just didn't really matter, and the cleanse didn't even do anything for him. He got stunned by the Morgana when he was already half health. So that, even though he got out of the CC, as we've seen
A bit of action right now. You can see the dredge line going straight for Saint's Blaze, but the damage might get turned around. A lot of show, but not a lot of force right there in the bot lane.
Yeah, and they do blow both support ultimates as well as the heal from Satan. So could be looking for a re-engage with when the junglers walk down. I think Embrace Darkness realizes that bot lane is now a point of contention, and Hames is also realizing this. We may see a 3v3 as well as a dragon directly afterwards.
Yeah, this is definitely the situation being set up right now. I kind of saw Embrace Darkness waiting in the Dragon Pit, looking for a way to get in, but everything was so warded up, as well as I believe the Scuttlebug is currently in favor of the Goon. So nothing was going to happen there without either side knowing, and as a result, no one actually pulls the trigger on that play. However, a second Cloud Drake would be very, very nice for Sean and friends, so I do expect them to put more pressure onto this bot lane.
Yeah, at the moment, the gold lead is 2,000 gold in favor of Sean and friends, but almost all of it is on Embrace Darkness and Gryffindor. And those are the two people that we said before the game we should look out for. Their synergy this whole game has been amazing. Like, whenever something would happen mid lane, they would always be there to respond, if not the ones starting it. So those two players have really been shining this game, as well as the side lanes. Making sure not to bleed out too much in these losing matchups at the moment.
Yeah, that's definitely the case right now. I'm curious to see where Embrace Darkness is going to try and focus his lead. It appears it's been the bot half of the map at the moment, either it being bot lane itself or the mid lane. This J4, still currently sitting at 100% kill participation, has opted to go Warriors to go with the Conqueror. So with J4, he's one of those junglers that can go either way. Either you can play him hard tank, or you can go that more bruisery build when you have 3 kills. Yeah, why not take the damage? Why not go Warrior?
Yeah, you do have that front line in the Ornn, and you just need a bit more physical damage on the side of Sean and friends. So going the Warrior, and I'm hoping transitioning into a somewhat bruiser build, maybe even a tankier style of build, when it comes to mid and late game, is what I want to see out of Embrace Darkness. Since he's so far ahead in this early game, I really do like the Warrior pick, even though Cinderhulk is my generally favored enchantment on competitive Jarvan.
That's it. A flash engage is coming out of Amir's Love. The target is Talia. The Cataclysm is down. Knowledge will not escape. Dark Binding connecting as well as prompting out the Featherstorm from Lady Gaga fan, who's going to try to run to the tower, not finding it this time. Embrace Darkness, 4th kill of the game.
This is literally Satan Blade's 8th game of Kai'Sa in this tournament, and you can see why. He knows when to pull the trigger. He knows exactly how much damage he does. Ults under the tower to try and get that last bit of damage onto Lady Gaga fan. And this is definitely one of his best champions, if not the best champion. I haven't seen him on Lucian too much recently.
Yeah, and that said as well, like, not only is Satan Blaze proficient on this Kai'Sa, another clutch Dark Binding from Mirror's Love sort of started that entire fight off. Meanwhile, CSO 67 going to town on Stabbable. The ultimate's coming out. Blow that Ornn Horn, get that knock up, and secure that kill. And oh, we're actually not done. A big play out of Amumu. Haynes is trying to come up huge right now in the mid lane. The flag and drag gets the knock up onto Haynes. There's a bit of an escape going on. Amir's Love did get blown up right before my camera appeared to come down there, but Gryffindor punishing this Amumu, gets the damage from over the wall. Here comes the death charge. It's connecting onto Saint's Blaze, who's going to have to try and back away. The Dredge Line connects onto this Kai'Sa. Down she goes, and that leaves poor Gryffindor on his own to possibly back away, except here comes the flank. CSO 67 teleport to the back line. Gets the kill on Talia's looking at the Pretender right now. The chase is on, and with that giant slow, Gryffindor should be able to help secure the kill. It's a double for CSO as a teleport out of, I believe that is Stabbable now joining the fight, and that should warrant the end of it all.
Honestly, that was, I thought, a really great play by Haynes to go in there, but really unfortunate that his team was just half a screen too far away to really follow up on that, and afterwards, Sean and friends kiting back so well and then re-engaging when they see their opportunity. That Gryffindor Anivia E, it felt like it had rapid fire cannon on it or something. I don't know how he got that max range on it, but he kills Haynes, and then afterwards they realize, oh, Kansas Goons doesn't really have a frontline. Talia's half health. He can't really tank anything. I mean, he's only a support at the moment. Doesn't have the gold for it. You see a little snare battle.
Bind for bind right now, but Embrace Darkness has joined the fight, but he goes after the clone! Black and Drag, unfortunately, there's a blasting call there, so he's able to knock himself right back into Stabbable's face. That was an almost moment for Embrace Darkness, as CSO 67 in the 1v2 will be fine, and this will actually be a Rift Herald secured by Sean and Friend.
This Sean and Friends doing the same thing that I did last game. Bot lane, they get the dragon, and then they reset. Send CSO 67 to bot, and the bot lane of Kansas Goons are just they're just too slow to react. They can't predict that this will happen, and now they're going to break top. This is a rinse and repeat of last game's play around the Rift Herald, and there's nothing that Kansas Goons can do to prevent this unless they realize in advance that that's what's going to happen. But it's just too hard to predict, especially after that mid lane fiesta, I guess.
Yeah, what I find interesting as well is I was watching the mini-map as Sean and friends were setting it up, and you can see everyone on Kento's Goons trying to react to that top side. Meanwhile, CSO67, he's laughing because he's like, sweet, if everyone's going up top, I'm just going to keep pressuring bot lane. Unfortunately for Sean and friends, they didn't have quite enough deep vision to really commit on that play. But if I'm CSO67, I do not really care at all about the fact that, you know, they might be sending a Nico to respond to me, because as proven before, I win that 1v1 matchup. Redline being thrown down as well onto Gryffindor. The follow-up Tangle Barbs are there. Flash does get out in time. That said, though, they could be looking at tower dive. Under the tower we go. They pop the egg, but can they crack it open? A Pop Blossom is going to zone the rest of Sean and friends away. The kill will be secured by the Amumu, but here comes the flag and drag. Cataclysm connects with 2. Saints Blaze on the flank. He's going to try and bring him down, but already Jarvan is dead, and Saints Blaze is on his own. He's able to take down Talia. He might get Haynes as well. No, Haynes is able to survive. Still, it is a double kill for Saints Blaze before he died.
Wow, that was actually really clean on the back end of that fight for Kansas Goons to turn around. I thought once they blew out their ultimates on Gryffindor that there would be no way that they could turn the fight back in their favor, but Embrace Darkness overextends a little too much, and Satan Blaze caught on the wrong side of that wall, and Kansas Goons realize this, and they just collapse onto them as we see CSO67 coming mid to try and defend that tower. Maybe going to engage with Call of the Forge God, but actually getting some damage onto the Pretender. Maybe he will engage. But he doesn't really have any follow-up damage, so I'm assuming not. While we see a teleport coming from Gryffindor to match this bot lane, I don't think he'll be fighting.
I don't know. He's looking to try and chase Stabbable down. I mean, there is no magic resistance. Only one completed item on this Nico compared to a nearly full Rod of Ages plus a Seraph's Embrace out of Gryffindor. Yeah, I think this Nivea wants to fight by this stage of the game. A third Crown Drake going to be spawning. I think I mentioned this during the semifinals as well, and I'm really sorry to do this to you, but when I cast a game, guess what? It's Cloud Drake time. That's just what happens.
You know what? Cloud Drake's not exactly the worst thing in the world, especially for Jarvan and Morgana, who want to get that move speed so that they're in range of max ranging those skill shots, or at least like being able to reliably hit them, because while those skill shots do have somewhat long range, they aren't long enough to reliably use them at any time that they need them. So having the Ghost Drake, the Ghost from the Cloud Drake to give them that extra little movement speed, especially with 3 of them, definitely going to be useful for the side of Sean and friends.
What would a Ghost Drake give you? That sounds really cool. I know you meant Cloud Drake, but I'm just thinking, like, what would a Ghost Drake entail? As a clutch binding actually connecting on Talia, and the burst damage is there. Embrace Darkness picking up yet another kill.
I think a Ghost Drake would revive Talia right now, because he does not want to be dead at the moment, especially with the Baron up and so much DPS from the side of Sean and friends. We'll see if they try to go for it. Probably not. Mid tower is looking a lot more reasonable, even though the wave clear coming out of Kansas Goons is huge. I think maybe they just should try to set up Baron Vision and bait Kansas Goons into face checking a bush there and forcing them to commit abilities that they're not able to commit without getting punished for it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the call right now, is establish vision, maybe find a pick around the Baron Pit, or buy more time for CSO67 on this side lane, who has definitely taken this lane over, has been constantly shoving in Stabbable. So it's really a win-win situation. Either the game kind of gets more delayed and they're able to push their side lane advantage, or maybe they get that pick around the Baron Pit. That said, right now, 3 Cloud Drakes, it doesn't even matter if they reset. They get back into position so quickly. I feel as if the game is completely in Sean and friends' hands, and they can do whatever they want with that amount of movement.
I mean, look at CSO67 right now. He has the Merc Treads, Abyssal Mask, and Adaptive Helm, as well as the upgraded version of that Abyssal Mask. Stabbable just can't do anything, especially with the Glacial Augment build, which favors utility over damage and doesn't have any magic pen. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything except the wave clear in that bot lane, which is even better for CSO67. As a tank, you want to get your items, you want to be become that unkillable force that engages and stops people from jumping onto your backline. Whereas Hames is not anywhere near that level of tankiness at the moment. So definitely the advantage of stalling for CSO 67 is probably the play that they want to go for because it's safer. It doesn't force them to risk anything, and the Kai'Sa and Gryffindor can also scale up. They have those champions that late game they can take over team fights. Jarvan has already done his job in the early game of getting priority for his laners and getting those advantages. So even if the Jarvan supposedly falls off late game, he still has that engage and that utility, and he doesn't really care that he doesn't need to be making plays right now.
But that said, Jarvan can make one big play, and that big play is the Baron pit, and the Baron itself taking advantage of the goons resetting. They're going to try and pull the trigger. They have enough damage to take it down before they react. Looking at the map, everyone is showing up in time. Teleport's going through, but Baron has already been secured. It doesn't matter. It looks like we're going to see a fight out of the goons. The Ornhorn goes straight through the Cataclysm and hits everyone. Pop Blossom is only able to chip the side. Hames trying to run down Satan's Blaze is not going to get there in time. A double kill, meanwhile, though, for Gaga fans, as Zaya is looking to pop off. His eyes set onto CSO, but Gryffindor is there to return the favor. What a wall forces a Featherstorm flash because the Featherstorm went the wrong way, and Gryffindor still wants it. Trying to chase down Natalia. It's a good route to buy enough time, will escape, but it's still a 3-for-2 and a Baron in favor of Sean and Friends.
I love that call by Sean and Friends because even though Kenzo's Goons had vision of it and collapsed, they still lost the fight. Even though that Sean and Friends were low from taking, or not low, but somewhat dented, even as we see Gryffindor taking one too many tower shots, barely escaping with his life. But as I was saying, that call to just take the Baron, rush it down. They see Kenzo's Goons coming. They're like, we don't care. We're going to kill this Baron, and then we're going to turn. Then we're going to combine the Cataclysm and call the Forge God and the Anivia on it all together, bursting down Kenzo's Goons, not really giving them a way to leave. And now they have Baron as well as a 8,000 gold advantage. I think what they're going to do is send Gryffindor to a side lane because he has the teleport available very shortly. I don't think sending your main form of engage to a side lane is a good idea. Maybe having 5 people group mid is also feasible. I just don't think having your tank on the side lane is the best call right now.
Yeah, especially with teleport being down, but if you're taking a look at the minimap, it might be because that bot side tower is going to be the target of Sean and Friends. Nope, they're up and go back to middle. I mean, it's okay, though. Only because they have 3 Cloud Drakes, right? So it doesn't really matter. I feel like CSO could rejoin a fight at a moment's notice, and he might need to right now because it's Embrace Darkness who was caught out. The Dredge line is going to be stopped by the Black Shield, as will the Engage, but Gryffindor is still stepping forward. Walls off the entirety of the Goose, but he may be in a bit too deep. The re-engage is coming through, but it's not going to be enough. 2 quick picks for the blue side.
This is exactly what we were saying, that you don't want your on away from the rest of your team. Why is he in a side lane? Sure, he has Baron buff. Sure, that he needs to stop Stabble from getting the Sean and Friends tower, but that shouldn't be a concern when you have 5 people with Baron. Every single lane has a gold advantage. You can just run down mid. If Stabble wants to push sideways, that's his problem. He's leaving his team in a 4v5 situation where they're behind. I just don't really agree with what Sean and Friends did with the Baron lane assignments.
I feel like if anyone should have been going side lane, it should have been Gryffindor, because you have the wave clear and the disengage as well as the teleport available. Gryffindor would have been just fine in the bot side and would have been able to handle Stabbable. They did not need to send CSO 67 there in his wake. That said, 2 quick picks doesn't really save the game just yet for the blue side. I still think Kenzo's Goons have a long way to go, but it does buy a bit more time. It got rid of 2 of those Baron buffs. That said, we'll see how it continues, though, because the siege seems to be right back on. This time, it does appear as if Sean and Friends are doing this fart thing. They're sending 5 men into mid, and I don't know how this mid tower stays standing.
Yeah, and the Baron buff is still available for them on some of their members, so hopefully... Oh wait, no, the Baron buff just died, so...
Yeah, Baron buff is
the Pretender
down.
Can wave clear well enough, but the zoning from that Anivia is just... You can't walk through that ultimate without
Watch
fearing for your
Lady
life.
Gaga fan. Lady Gaga fan is on the flank as well as Dabbable. They're trying to find a way to the back line. It doesn't look like they're going to find it just yet, however. pings coming down, though, so they have been spotted. Here comes the Glacial Ghost. CSO67 may be out of position. Caught by the Dangle Barbs. No follow-up engaged just yet. Actually, it's the Pretender who's forced to cleanse away as a big Dark Binding coming out of the Mirror's Love. Holds him long enough in place, and all of a sudden, Hames is the one who might be caught out. Still more harass from Savable. No engage just yet. It's a lot of long-distance poke. No one wants to be that player who gets caught out and causes their team to lose the ensuing fight.
Hey, Sean and friends, sending 5 people mid. This is what I wanted to see when you had Baron buff. When it was difficult for Kenzo's goons to wave clear your Baron's minions. Why are you doing it now when it's just going to become a wave clear battle between Anivia and Corki and Zaya? Like, both of those sides can just endlessly wave clear until the next Baron spawns. It's not, even though that is technically favorable for Sean and friends, that's just not what I want to see. I want to see some good lane assignments. They're getting the side lanes, getting those inner turrets, pressuring when they can make that pressure rather than just waiting around for the Baron to spawn and get that guaranteed objective.
That said, Baron will be spawning very shortly. I believe it is 1 minute to go until the big purple worm, as it's known, makes its presence known on the map. Good little pickup of the Scuttlebug in response by Satan Blaze, ensuring that they have vision should the goons opt to try and get their own wards around the pit as the rest of the team resets. So it appears as if Sean and friends are ready for a fight. Is this really a fight, though, that Kenzo's goons can afford to take?
I mean, after the last few minutes, they have gotten some picks and gotten some shutdowns. So getting the fire cannon on the Corki, getting the triple crit item on Lady Gaga fan, as well as a bit more tankiness. No gargoyles yet, but I'm sure it'll come through eventually. Maybe not able to use it in this Baron fight, but we do see the Zonias coming out of Stable. A lot of powerful items being picked up on the side of Kenzo's goons. Maybe they do want to take this fight. Maybe this is their last chance after all. If Sean and Friends gets Baron again, it'll be very hard for Kenzo's goons to come back from this game. So they either take this fight now or they never take it until next game.
That's it. Embrace Darkness thinks he has Hames caught out of position. Already a flash is down. That prompts the Cataclysm, but it's in the area of the blasting cone. So Hames is able to escape successfully. Flash, though, used from the jungler, doesn't prompt a Baron being started, at least just yet. Talia and Hames stepping forward. That's the front line from the goons. They're in the right place, and they're going to go ahead and try and clear that vision. Have to be careful, though. If one Dark Binding hits, that could proc the end of it. Meanwhile, Stabbable actually trying to step forward, but as you can see, just does no damage to CSO67. There is nothing this Nico can do, and that puts the rest of the goons on a bit of a time limit right now, because it will only be so long until CSO starts pressuring that bot side tower. As a response, the rest of Sean and Friends once again step towards the pit. The call has been made. The initiation is down, and out comes the damage from Embrace Darkness as well as Satan Blaze. No re-engage just yet, and they're going to back off, at least for now. Hames stepping up forward, trying to find the wards that may or may not have been placed. Good Force Seeker, get some harass down on Hames, and everyone backs away, at least for now.
Yeah, Sean and Friends need to get priority on that side lane and that mid lane before they attempt anything like that Baron play, as well as get vision.
There's the stunning damage on Talia wall as well. It stopped the hook, and as a result, Satan's Blaze feels confident enough to ult the end. They pick up the kill onto the support, and with that, they might start to pressure Baron more. Look at the mini-map. It looks as if the goons are actually going more towards the bot side. This could be a free Baron for Sean and Friends.
Honestly, I think the best thing here to do would have been just bait a bush, and you have vision. But actually, I think Kenzo's goons don't want to contest it. They might be looking for a bot lane play, trying to catch out CSO67, since the Baron is just deleted just like that.
Yeah, Baron's gone, and in response, it looks as if Kenzo's goons are going to go for an Ocean Drake instead, but okay. That means you're going to lose Tower as well as Baron for a late game Ocean Drake at 32.5 minutes. Not to mention the fact this puts the Elder Dragon on a time limit, and if they're not in position to fight for Baron, how are they going to fight for Elder Dragon? CSO right now in a 1v3 situation should be able to escape, as the rest of Sean and Friends are just sieging the base. All CSO has to do right now is stop the backs, and this could be game over. That said, though, he doesn't feel confident in it, at least just yet. He's trying to find more of them. The siege is still continuing in the base. Pretender's been found. He's going to try and disengage and buy some time, but CSO is not going to let him. That's the 2 damage dealers. This Lady Gaga fan is there as well. In fact, even Hames is rotating up. Where is the rest of Sean and Friends? Why are they not ending this game? Instead, they're looking for the re-engage. Cataclysm gets 2. Follow-up flash on the Pretender. May bring him down. One more Q should do it as Embrace Darkness secures the kill. Meanwhile, Lady Gaga fan is still getting harassed by CSO 67. Down he will go. Pop Blossom buy some time, but a big stopwatch barrage out of Satan's Blaze, and a Ball of Flash keeps him alive as Embrace Darkness goes ham, gets yet another 2 kills, and finally the last one left is Hames. He goes down as well. A triple for the Jarvan, a double, I believe, for CSO67, and that will be game number 2.
Yeah, that's definitely a game, and I just want to point out such good vision by CSO67 to notice that, hey, they just took Dragon, they're probably resetting right now. I'm just going to go stop them, mess with them a little bit, let my team get that inhibitor tower, because I think Ocean Drake was the right call. That inner was going to fall anyway, but really smart play by CSO67 to stop their backs, allow that re-engage to happen, and they just blow up the Nexus with that advantage that they built up.
Yeah, and at the end, though, it was one sort of awkward fight, really, that puts this one away. I actually kind of feel like that was the ideal backdoor situation for Sean and friends. They really didn't need to take that fight, but it was almost a good thing they did because they kind of got to, really secure that kill. I thought CSO 67 was fine, though, just stopping the backs. Like, he had both the damage dealers there.
Yeah, he was still stopping the backs even after the team was disengaged from the top lane. He was still walking around, messing with that Corki and the Xayah. In fact, he was probably the one calling his team to come collapse on these damage dealers who don't have a frontline with them, who don't have a support with them to disengage, and they're just out of position. So really smart play by Sean and friends, considering, hey, we can get these kills, we can 100% secure this Nexus. We don't want to wait in this game for another 3 minutes while we push all our waves out. We just want to end it right now. And that's exactly what they do to get game 2 in the bag, 2-0 over Kenzo's Goons.
Yeah, this is looking very bad for Kenzo's Goons. Now, I did predict a reverse sweep at the start of the broadcast. Granted, I said it was going to be Sean and friends possibly reverse sweeping Kenzo's Goons. Hey, if I'm happy, like if any reverse sweep happens, because I can still claim that. That said, though, it will only take one more for Sean and his friends to take the title of the UNSW Rumble. So, with one game coming up, please, everyone at home, don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly with game number 3. We are in our picks and bans, and we're seeing some familiar faces being taken away. No Amumu this time around for Hames, who actually was quite lethal on it despite the losing effort. Not to mention a Vi and a Kane ban. So 3 bans going towards Hames. That's a lot of respect. And in response, 3 more jungle bans going back towards Embrace Darkness. 6 jungles banned away in our first phase.
I mean, are we even surprised? The jungle has been the biggest factor in both game 1 and game 2. The jungles were the most important thing in deciding who wins those games. And I think Kenzo's Goons realized putting a ban on Gryffindor doesn't matter at all because his champion pool is so wide that it doesn't even put a dent in it. So really, 3 jungle bans is very smart. And also, Sean and friends taking away the Hecarim not only for Embrace Darkness, but also to get rid of it for Hames. I've seen Hames pop off on that champion. You take away 4 of his main picks, he has almost nothing to fall back to. So I'm really interested to see what he'll choose here.
I don't think he has nothing. There's definitely going to be something in that arsenal out of Hames that we haven't probably seen before, but I trust him enough as a player that he has at least 5 junglers under his belt. Who that will be, we'll have to wait and see, but I'm loving the Kai'Sa Nautilus. That's a very aggressive lane.
Yes, and that is my favorite combination. They brought out, Sean and friends brought out the Leona and Kai'Sa before, but that is one step down from Leona Nautilus. I mean, Kai'Sa Nautilus, who the Nautilus has more than one form of CC, really easy to proc that Kai'Sa passive multiple times with the refreshing of the Nautilus passive as well. So that burst damage from that lane is going to be immense, especially into a squishy champion like Sivir, who once she spell shields one ability, can't spell shield the rest of them. So we'll see how that goes.
That is true, but Sivir is still such a power pick at the moment. The ability to sit back and just throw those bouncing blades into any sort of team fight, the mobility that the ultimate provides, especially with a Hecarim as well. If they can sort of align themselves up correctly, CSRO or Embrace Darkness, whoever's opting to take this Hecarim, could be doing so much damage. And yes, I did say CSO on purpose because I'm still not convinced that we might not be seeing a top Hecarim out of
No,
this.
he definitely does play it, and now that they've picked a Malphite, I think it's even more reason to go Hecarim. I mean, he's really good early game into these tanky kind of champions who don't have any damage in response. So if CSO does believe that the Hecarim is still a good pick at the moment, because it did get some slight nerfs that kind of pushed it out of the laning phase and more into the jungle role, if he does believe that he can stomp that top lane matchup, I do want him to take it and then pick up another jungler for the side of Shauna Friends.
I agree wholeheartedly. As we're seeing some mid lane bans go down, no Anivia, so we're not seeing 3 games in a row of the Icebird. Karma taken away as well. Not too surprised to see that power pick taken off the board. It could have gone either mid or top. I think Gryffindor probably would play a strong Karma. We've seen the Pretender on the Karma as well. Lux now being locked in. I'm assuming that will be... Actually, it could be flexed at this stage, but I do expect it to see it more mid. That's a call back to earlier in the year that mid lane Nautilus was a real thing.
It was, and I don't believe that actually happened, even if it lasted like one patch. But it's definitely the Pretender's Lux. It is one of his comfort picks, and Nautilus is a comfort pick for Talia, so... I mean, I would love to see a Nautilus flexed mid, but I highly doubt it. And taking away they banned the Vladimir earlier rather than ban the Ahri. I think first phase, banning Ahri is not a good call, but second phase, banning the Anivia and the Ahri together, I actually believe would have been a better option than banning the Anivia and the Vladimir. Especially when you're planning to pick Lux, who's a champion who relies so much on skill shots, and Ahri's ultimate kind of circumvents the ability to land them.
See, you're saying I would have liked to see the Ahri ban. What I'm saying is I would have liked to see the Nico banned away just because of how prominent it is in both of these team compositions. Like, each team plays the Nico. I highlighted this as probably the most interesting champion to watch during picks and ban phase, actually, would be who would be getting this Nico. And they concede it over to the blue side, as we're seeing a bit of a remake right now.
Yeah, I do think it's a placeholder, most likely.
The Nico was a placeholder?
No, not
I
the
don't
Nico.
believe that.
Not the Nico. I don't know which. Probably the Nunu, if I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
I doubt they would have picked a third tank into that team, if I'm being honest. But we'll probably get more information on that very shortly.
Yep, I think it is a placeholder. Yeah. We are getting right back into it.
Do you know what the Nunu was supposed to be?
I am not too sure.
All right, well, we'll see very shortly because jungle is going to be picked second on the side of Kenzer's, so it won't take us too long to find out what that Nunu is supposed to be. Do you have any theories on that, Max?
I hope it's a Nunu.
As a placeholder for Nunu?
Yeah, Nunu is a placeholder for Nunu. What I'm hoping is a situation similar to the LCS. I'm trying to remember who it was, but it was 100 Thieves. And it was against the... I forget who they're playing against. But it was during that meta when, like, you wouldn't farm, and you just get, like, procs by harassing the enemy.
Yeah.
And it was a member on 100 Thieves paused the game because they thought the game was glitching because it showed the top laner on the enemy team had 0 farm.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
I'm hoping this is a similar situation.
Yeah, they thought Nunu was a meme. They thought they would never pick 3 tanks. I mean, it's kind of unfair, Nunu and Willump, picking 1.5 champions instead of 1.
No, I think Willump is 2 and Nunu is -1. So it evens out.
It evens out. Alright, fair enough. We see the same bands, which is pretty standard. We can't really expect them to change them, even though it's a remake. Although it would be funny for them to start spelling stuff with the bands. That's what we like to see when there's a placeholder. We're getting very close to that jungle pick. I'm excited to see what it was.
It was an Illaoi.
Illaoi. Yeah, Illaoi flexed the Malphite mid. Lux
it was an Illaoi.
Oh, wow.
So the Malphite was the flex. Nunu was there. I was correct.
So
Let's
was
go.
the champion. Okay, now I'm very excited. This explains a lot because I actually thought if it was a Malphite, CSO would take the Hecarim matchup. Like, there's no reason for him not to, right?
Yes. But knowing that it's an Illaoi, you probably don't want to Hecarim into that. Illaoi loves it when people get in her face.
Exactly.
And she can turn that damage around. Nico makes much more sense in that regards going into an Alawi because you still have that range harass. So team compositions make a lot of sense. And yes, we do get to see Nunu.
Honestly, I wasn't expecting it. I am kind of happy that it's there. And Hames being forced onto the 5th most comfort pick, I'm guessing, or maybe just something that the team needed, but not able to have the Vi or the Amumu or a Sejuani. Kind of forced him onto that Nunu pick, which I hope there will be a lot of mid lane focus before Ari hits level 6 and has access to those 3 dashes that make her such a safe pick in the mid lane. So focusing mid, rolling down that snowball, follow up CC with the Lux binding as well as the burst damage from that champion. I think it could be a potential snowball-y way to get Gryffindor behind and the Pretender in a position to carry.
It could be, and like this is exactly what I was hoping for out of Hames when we saw all of these jungle bans going his way. In the end, it was a grand total of 4 out of the 5 being thrown towards him. He was going to have to pull off something, that we haven't seen yet, something a bit unique, something special, and it's that Nunu. It's unconventional, and I love it.
Yeah, and Nunu in competitive games has so much more value than Nunu in solo queue. I mean, in solo queue, that champion is nothing but a pure tank. But in competitive, he is an objective taking jungler, an early game ganking jungler, and even able to invade and pressure some champions. Maybe not so much the Hecarim, but in other situations, he's such a powerful pick. And I hope to see Hames pull off some crazy stuff on it. I'm guessing. I mean, every lane is so gankable for Hames in these matchups. Like, Nico has no escapes except her W, but afterwards, what is she gonna do? If you land the snowball, she dies. You go mid, gank Ari before level 6. She has no escapes except flash. If you go bot lane, you have the Nautilus set up with so many forms of CC, as well as the burst from Kai'Sa to follow up that damage. Hames has so many options in this early game, and I'm really interested to see what path he takes, as well as which lane he ganks first.
Yeah, I feel as if Hames has a lot of opportunities in this game, and he's going to need to use them, because so far throughout this series, Embrace Darkness has been a monster on the Rift, and now you're giving him Hecarim as well, who is one of the strongest sort of like, I'm gonna put the team on my back style junglers out there. And like, Hames is going to have to be on point and take advantage of all these opportunities if he's going to want to slow Embrace Darkness down. That said, though, I feel as if you can't be too overconfident on this Nunu as well, because there are tricky ways that I feel all of these lanes can evade some of these ganks. If you're Nico, yeah, you're saying, oh, the W might buy some time. What you do is you throw that W straight into the snowball, and then you walk away. Ari obviously has her ultimate, is able to escape that. Sivir has the spell shield, or Leona, hey, might tank it for you. That said, though, the bot lane is definitely the most susceptible area to be ganked, I feel, for Hames, especially when you throw in the Nautilus Kai'Sa combination. So I want to see a lot of pressure put on the bot side of that map. Other things
definitely.
I noticed, Pretender, again, opting for cleanse into the Ari. I do not a fan of that at all. I feel as if that's kind of conceding lane once again in a similar fashion that we saw last game. And I feel like Gryffindor already proved, I'm going to punish that cleanse. We're still going to find you. We're still going to kill you. And the last point that I wanted to bring up, sorry, I'm kind of like going off a checklist.
Yeah,
right?
so go for it.
Yes, Nunu is super strong in competitive play and is weaker in solo queue. What I've seen so far out of, the Goons has been a more solo queue mentality. I feel like they've been making mistakes throughout this series that you see normally in solo queue games, or rather, you see in solo queue games not get punished. But in games, in competitive tournaments, where you're going up against clean, concise communication, they can be capitalized on. I think the most prime example of this was game 1, when the Pretender stepped down to try and clear some vision and was immediately jumped upon by the entirety of the Sean and friends. That doesn't happen in solo queue. That happens in competitive play. And I feel as if Kenzo's Goons don't adapt to a competitive play mindset in this third game, this might be the third and final game.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I hope Hames can shot call well early game, as well as somewhat direct his team in the things that he needs from them for him to set up these ganks. And on the Lux, I do think taking an offensive summoner like Ignite is probably not the best option, because Lux as a champion doesn't really like to get into the face of people, get in range to use the Ignite or use the Exhaust. I do think there were better options than Cleanse, maybe a barrier or a heal, or TP as well. TP for the lane control and getting the Lux, the farm and the time she needs to scale, as well as the ability to just come back and reset when she gets low or poked out. But the Cleanse is probably not the best option. There are definitely at least 3 other summoner spells that I would have liked to see a bit more.
I actually would have been all right if I had seen that, like, oh so lovely spell book.
Oh, true.
Being taken in mid and going for the smite, Luden's. Or sorry, not Luden's. Oh my gosh, the blue smite mid lane, and then you bounce off it with the spell book into more conventional roles. I've seen it recently, and Lux is one of the few champions who can do it actually quite effectively. Cool. We are in this one. So yeah, as I was saying, definitely is an option that I would have liked to see in this tournament. Unfortunately, we might not unless we get to a game 4. It's a bit cheesy, I know, but maybe that's the kind of cheese, or rather innovation, that Kenzo's Goons need to pull out in order to win this best of 5.
Yeah, and we already see a little bit of innovation coming out with the Nunu pick, even though he was forced onto it, I would say, by those bans. Hopefully he's had enough practice on it, as well as the right mindset to get the rest of his team ahead in this game, as we see Talia spamming his emote in the pixel bush. Just a bit of fun.
Thumbs up for the boss.
Oh man,
that was a fun little interaction right there. Talia knew the camera would be on, like, has to, right? That's why the thumbs up went down.
For sure, of course. I mean, who was he thumbs upping to? The Kaiser? I don't think he cares.
Shout out to the river duck.
Yeah,
dude. You know what? For like 100 games, people kept mentioning the river duck, and I've never seen it before. And at one point, I finally saw it, and I just celebrated for like the next 30 minutes. I was telling people, "Did you know that there's a duck in League?"
You guys remember Old Summoner's Rift? Oh my god. It's like a different ancient time now.
Dude, how ugly were Raptors? But
Dude,
what
bring
they
back
were
Wraiths.
before.
Come on.
Bring back lizards before Wraiths.
Yeah, bring back the buffs having little friends.
Yeah, dude.
That's a little legend in TFT.
So fun.
The baby blue buff.
Yo,
I want that one. I right now I kind of have like the red buff tier 2 one, which is nice because he has a little rose.
Back.
Yep. Into the game we are, but
10,
I think
11, 12.
Yep.
Cool.
13,
All good. All good.
14. Okay. All good.
All right.
Yeah, I don't want to keep talking TFT though. I want to talk my little.
Afterwards, we'll have a TFT talking session. Okay.
All right.
But for the moment, Gryffindor looking to get the
suppose
Raptor Ward in, I think.
Yeah, he's checking it out. I mean, this is a pretty conventional start from both sides. 32, 33, 34. Yeah, still good.
Yeah, cool.
We're still good.
Now we're Gucci.
We're still good. We don't need to pause.
Oh wow, the Pretender already half health in this lane. I mean, it's kind of expected from the Iva. He didn't need to contest the Raptor Ward. You should just give it up. You're going to take so much damage trading with the Ahri. And it's not a favorable place for your lane to be, especially as a Lux.
No, especially when it is the matchup.
Yeah,
that,
it's frozen for me as well.
205, 206. Nope. Okay, I'll pause.
Okay, pause at 10.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to give it a bit of time to buffer? Or...
Yeah, we'll give it a bit of time to buffer as well.
Alright, in the moment, dude, have you seen the blue little legend spamming? Like, he bunny hops everywhere.
Dude, Control 2 is actually the ultimate one.
Bro, he legit just like floats across your screen. It's so good.
Dude, the duck thing? I hate that. I hate the spam on that one. The noise.
Oh, the Silverwing?
Yeah, dude. Oh, yeah. It drives me insane.
My god. No, the cutest one is the
hate Fury. That. I love it. I love
it's so annoying. Dude. No, my favorite is the Fury Horn, bro. He's like a little ball, and he's so cute.
Okay. Are we all paused at 210?
Yes, sir.
I'm at 211 for some reason.
All right, let's go 211. All right, is everyone 211?
It skipped 11 and went 12.
All right, let's go
It usually
12.
went 210, 212.
All right, I'm at 212.
Alright, I'm on 212.
All right, ready,
Okay.
everyone? 3,
Yep.
2, 1. Unpause.
Alright, finally synced up, getting back
14.
into game.
15, 16. Okay, yeah, we're right, and the Nautilus is actually looking to engage right now. Talia was able to connect with the dredge line, follow-up damage out of Lady Gaga fan. Meanwhile, in mid lane as well, similar interactions happening. I just wanted to come back with a bang. Really, no one was ever going to die. Summoner is still available across the map.
Of course, and that's the burst damage coming out of the Kai'Sa. I mean, Aimer was taken to almost half health, if not below it, and that's the kind of thing that I was expecting from the Nunu to come do afterwards. Nunu comes ganks bot, you get 3-4 stacks of Kai'Sa passive without Kai'Sa even touching that person. She lands a 1 auto and then boom, that's half their health bar gone. So that's exactly the kind of interactions we see from Kai'Sa Nautilus as well as the CC heavy jungler.
Top lane could be a bit of an interesting situation right now. Ward placed right in front of Hames, so he knows it's there. But the Tri-Bush hasn't been placed, and it doesn't matter because Hames is still going to commit to it. The snowball is on its way right now as we watch the map. Will it connect? Nope. Apparently, Cameron's more interested in bot side, so that kind of tells us the snowball did not
Bot
hit.
lane's more important, but at least the snowball shows on the minimap and we can see him maneuvering it. I don't like that ward against Nunu. I mean, CSO barely had any time to react. With the snowball coming in at full speed, if Hames started the snowball slightly behind Tri-Bush, he actually would have gotten to top boss.
Oh, we have an action on the bot side as well. Zenithblade did connect on the Lady Gaga fan. That's enough for first blood. Meanwhile, in mid lane, the Charm pulls the Pretender in, but here comes Hames and that snowball. A lot of damage being thrown onto Gryffindor. It doesn't look like he'll be able to escape this time. Flashes underneath the tower, gives the kill over to Hames instead. And CSO also in trouble, taken quite low by this Alawi.
All I'm going to say is Gryffindor got an auto off on the tower, and that's all that matters. He got his final words. He got his last triumph before he died. But really, this is what I was expecting out of Hames. Early top and mid focus to try and get those lanes ahead, because those are very volatile matchups, as well as Ari before she hits level 6. Super easy to gank, and then he can transition that into bot lane ganks once Talia has the ultimate, once Lady Gaga fan also has a few items under his belt. So I'm expecting, honestly, to see top and bot both repeat ganks, as neither of them have flash available.
Stabbable on this Alawi as well has really been taking it to CSO 67 during this early game. I feel like we've seen 2 of the feast games out of CSO 67. Maybe it's due for one of those famine ones as Stabbable in complete control of the top side of the map.
Yeah, it may actually be, because this is one of Stabbable's most comfort champions, second only to Urgot and Gnar, both at equal first place on his comfort list. And I really want to see what else he can do on this Alawi, because we've seen it before. And even when he falls behind, he's still ahead somehow. It's really cool the way he plays this Alawi, drawing so much pressure from the enemy. But now Hecarim, we see, goes bot side, clearing those oh so valuable Krugs, as well as possibly Raptors or a bot lane gank after that. And with Infernal Dragon up, having bot lane pressure is so important this game.
Yeah, bot lane pressure is definitely going to be critical, I feel, for Sean and friends, if only because of the amount of pressure Hames has already put down on the top half of said Summoner's Rift. Plus, finally, we have a relevant first dragon. It is an Infernal Drake, and I expect each team really going to be wanting to contest and fight over this one. What's most interesting about the setup, though, is Teleport's already down for both top laners, so it's really going to be a bot-sided fight for it. Who do you like in this? Like, who do you feel has gotten more priority on the bot side of them?
I think at the moment,
it might be, you know, Sean and friends, because Hames is actually going to get run down a bit. Kind of chunked, has to walk away. Pretender roaming down as well. The Scuttlebug is actually the focus. A good bind and a follow-up ultimate coming out of the Pretender does a lot of damage. Snowball making its way, runs right into that Scuttlebug and secures it for Kenzo's Goons.
that is huge for Kenzo's Goons, because as I was saying before that fight started, At the moment, Kenzo's Goons had priority, but having a Sivir on the side of Sean and Friends means they can get priority at any moment they want. They just press W and Q, get the ricochets happening, get the boomerang blade going through the wave, and all those minions are dead. So getting that scuttle is so important for the side of Kenzo's Goons, as well as forcing the Hecarim to back. They now have a lot more control over this bot side than they would have otherwise
get this
had.
red buff right now, but Embrace Darkness makes it just in time to see it stolen away by Hames, making that blast entrance, or exit, I should say, through the Dragon Pit. So there is the Nunu coming in handy right there, a cheeky little steal. And already, this game has kind of been flipped on its head from what we've seen in the first two. The Pretender is the one in the lead in mid, Stabbable is the one in the lead in top, and Hames is crushing it in the jungle right now.
They're all, like, there's a champion that got buffed this patch on the side of Kenzo's Goons, which is the Ilawi. Got some very interesting changes to her E. And on the side of Sean and Friends, we have a champion that was nerfed in the Sivir. So overall, a net gain from the side of Kenzo's Goons. Hopefully that's enough to push them over the edge and be able to close out this game and win it.
It could be. We might be seeing the situation for a game 3, especially if Amir walks right into Hames. Embrace Darkness is there to follow up as a big Nunu ult is about to pop. It does so much damage to Amir, but Satan's Blaze is untouched, just throwing slice of pizza after slice of pizza. Does not matter, though, because the fight clearly goes in favor of the Goon.
Yep, Satan plays doing his best sneaky cosplay as that fight goes out, and they all just stand in the giant Nunu ultimate, taking so much damage when that thing popped. And now they're looking to get a focus on Dragon, that Infernal Drake being also important to them. But Gryffindor's looking to make a play.
It does not connect with the charm, nor does he connect with the follow-up Q. Doesn't matter. So much damage out of Gryffindor. It's enough to pick up the kill on Daenerys. But here comes Lady Gaga fan. Flashing away is Hames as the kill is secured.
That's such an unfortunate Reg line by Talia. He was right on the edge of Dragon Pit, and I'm not sure where he was aiming, but he used the Q and didn't even move. If anything, walking would have been faster than queuing directly next to you because of the cast animation. And now, Sean and Friends has bot lane control. They have the vision on the Dragon. They got a pink ward set up. They've got full vision of the Tri-Bush as well as the River Bush. They got deep vision into the blue side jungle, and now they're sweeping the mid lane. I mean, Kenzo's Goons has to get there ASAP before Sean and Friends get any ideas. But yeah, they're approaching the Dragon now. Hopefully they can clear some of the vision that they've placed, that Sean and Friends has placed.
No, pardon me right there, but yeah, they were able to react in time, and actually it almost appears as if they might be starting off this Dragon. Meanwhile, on top lane, like CSO taken quite low. It was only clearing vision, so Dragon not been started yet. It's really a tit for tat right now fight over this Infernal Drake. No one's fully committed for it, at least thus far. I have to give kudos for Gryffindor. Yes, he died in the effort, but he did save the Infernal Drake from going down. A good little snare forces the all-in out of CSO 67, and now is slowed. Stabbable is looking for the re-engage, is not going to find it this time around. CSO 67 escapes with his life.
Yeah, both flashes blood from either top laner, and unfortunately for both the junglers, Infernal Dragon is up, which is where they want their priority to be. Otherwise, that lane is very easily gankable. Unfortunately, they are going to be focusing on the Dragon. Like I said, Hames currently clearing his top side. I'm expecting a reset after that to try and get Dragon. Unless they do the same thing as the past two games where they send, where Sean and Friends sends their top laner bot lane and grab that Rift Herald with the ADC and the support. So we'll see what they like to do. I mean, with Infernal Drake up, I don't see it happening, but it is an option to take that Rift Herald.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, there's two huge priority targets right now, and it's really up for one of these junglers to make a play on one of them, and whether or not we see the opposing team react by trying to contest said objective or opt to trade it. With that Infernal Drake, I feel as if trading is not an option. You want to fight for that one, especially considering that each of these teams are probably thinking, yeah, we're going to be going late with the composition that we have.
That's definitely true. Both scaling marksmen, both top laners are pretty decent in team fights. If anything, they're actually pretty good in team fights with that AoE Ilawi ulti as well as the Nico snare across the whole team. And these burst mid laners definitely appreciate the bonus AP coming out of Infernal Drake. So I do expect to see a lot of bot lane focus, but we do see Hames on the top side of the map, maybe willing to trade the Infernal for the Rift Herald.
I think it's just a clearing vision right now. Neither side really feels safe enough to commit for any sort of play. Something has to give on one side or the other. And at the moment, CSO is actually the one who's setting up quite aggressive to Stabbable. Stabbable made it to the tower, definitely getting punished for it. This might be that opening. Granted, teleport advantage is still in Stabbable's favor, so he has the ability to recall and teleport back into lane. That does make any play a bit too risky, yet it still appears as if Sean and friends might be committing to it. They're stepping towards the vision. Here comes the snowball. It's going to be trying to find Gryffindor. A flash engage from Amir's Love actually gets themselves to Hames. The absolute zero is procced right away. It's not going to do the damage it did the first time around, and a kill is secured, and that will be the Infernal Dragon.
Yeah, and 12 minutes of back and forth vision play as well as quick skirmishes, all eventually culminating in this first dragon being taken, going to Sean and friends, attempted steal by the Pretender, but not even close, unfortunately, and they do get the Infernal Drake. Hopefully for the side of Kenzo's goons, there could be another Infernal Drake spawning, but it's, no, never mind, it's actually a Cloud Drake, so it's really unfortunate. The one Infernal Drake in the game so far, in the whole series so far, going to the side of Sean and friends, who heavily benefit from the bonus AD and AP. I mean, they got a full AP top laner. They have Embrace Darkness, who, if collecting the Air Drake as well, gets more AD, because that's how his champion works, as well as Griff and Satan Blaze. Obviously going to be on the carries. That's their role in the team. Having the bonus stats, very useful for them. So this is really good for them to pick up the Infernal Drake. And also, a change that's... we see Hames rolling up top.
Yep. Yeah, here comes the snowball, but a good use of the clone to stop the snowball in its place. So CSO 67 will be able to escape quite cleanly. Going back to the point you were making, I think we discovered the reason why Embrace Darkness wanted to prioritize the Saccharum. It's not because he's competent on the champion, but it's because he knew I was casting tonight, so there was going to be a plethora of Cloud Drakes, and finally putting that into action. The strategy is playing off, and I believe the Cloud Drake spam is now well and truly on its way.
I can't believe it. Embrace Darkness, knowing exactly how to utilize
He has been big brain all series. He really has. Yeah, so good little clear right there from Amir is Love right now. I mean, the next big target should be the Rift Herald, and at the moment it is Hames who is there, but Embrace Darkness is stepping up. Scuttlebug already secured though, so that is a good little win for Kenzo's goons. It does mean that there's not much that Sean and his friends can do in order to contest it unless they win a fight quite convincingly. And with the way how this game is going, we're not really going to be seeing many of these fights until much later in it.
Yeah, and Sean and friends don't have the Kai'Sa that they've had the past two series, who has so much objective damage with her missing health damage on the passive. So I don't know if they'll do the whole bot lane rotation up to top, but if they do decide to do it, now would be the best time with Dragon still 3 minutes away. And you have basically a clear path to get to that Rift Herald without sacrificing an objective on the other side of it.
There we go. Binding coming through, actually connecting, and here comes the follow-up. That is a very low health Gryffindor, who I have to admit, so far on this Ahri pick, this is kind of confirming my beliefs, or maybe I'm speaking too soon. Gryffindor going for the all-in, has the backup from Embrace Darkness. He'll help secure the kill. Snowball making its way down bot. The target is going to be Saint's Blade. Does a good job to spell shield the dredge line, but it's not, the depth charge, I'm sorry, but it's really not enough for Amir is Love to escape. So in the end, only one kill going towards this side. It is 1-for-1 across the map.
Yep, Hames sees Embrace Darkness. He's mid, bot lane, overextended. His first thought, his first instinct is to get that snowball going. I'm going to go bot lane. I'm going to turn this lane in the favor of my team so that we don't lose mid pressure for free. And he does that very well. Aima tanking the snowball for his beloved ADC. It's just the tax you have to pay as a support player.
I feel as if this game is going to come down between Satan Blaze and Lady Gaga fan. Each of these AD carries already have themselves a bounty as action in the top lane. The Pop Blossom into Embrace Darkness is not enough to secure the kill. Stabbable with that health regen, doing so much work, flashes defensively, looks for the re-engage, and the tentacles come through. Embrace Darkness just survives.
And that's Stabbable on that Alawi. He already knew how to play it to an amazing level, and now that it's gotten those buffs, he feels even more available to like do things like that on that pick. And now the Pretender's contesting vision knows Embrace Darkness is really low, can't do what he did to him in game 1, where he collapsed on him as soon as he approached a pink ward.
Yeah, this is a scary situation right now for Sean and friends. Like, this has been the closest game thus far at the 17.5-minute mark. In fact, it's the first team, I believe, that Kenzo's Goons have even had a lead past the 15-minute mark. Granted, it's only a small one. It's only 500 gold, but you feel as if momentum is starting to shift. Gryffindor, once again, caught by the snare. You have Nunu coming down as well. Hames might be looking under tower. Charm does break the snowball for now. Gryffindor does not look for the re-engage, as they seem to be backing off for now. I feel as if you can almost make it good for the Rift Herald. Taking a look at the map, Embrace Darkness is on the bottom half of set map, but no, instead they're still going to play it safe. They don't even clear the vision that Sean and friends have established within that Herald pit.
I don't think they know that there's a pink ward in there, but I love the way that the Pretender uses his full combo every time he lands a binding, as if, oh yeah, I'm just testing my damage right now, just trying to see how low I can get you with my full combo. And I mean, if it gets you pressure mid lane, why not? If it forces Gryffindor to go back to his base, why not? The Lux ultimate's already back up. It's such a low cooldown, you may as well just burn it every time Gryffindor gets hit by one of those Qs. And now I'm starting to think maybe Gryffindor should have taken the cleanse and not the Pretender.
Yeah, it's very surprising to see this Ahri, which has been so prioritized in terms of Kenzo's Goons ban priority, not really living up to warrant those first two bans, at least thus far. I do feel Ahri does get stronger with a couple items under her belt, and I have seen a lot of strong mechanical plays out of Gryffindor in this one. Yes, he's been hit by a couple bindings, but how he sort of turned it around 2 bindings ago and almost got the kill back onto the Pretender tells me that this Ahri is still not something to sleep on, at least just yet.
Yeah, definitely not, as Dragon has just spawned, and I want to see if they start to put any priority on it. As we see, Embrace Darkness actually soloing the Rift Herald at the moment. We'll see if they can collapse on him, but no, there's no one topside. I think he's just going to get it for free. Stabbable sees him, but there's nothing he can do about it, and that's going to be a Rift Herald going to the side of Sean.
They actually want the fight instead. Embrace Darkness going in super deep after Stabbable. This didn't work out well for him last time, and it's not working out well this time as well. It's actually a solo kill for Stabbable. Odd decision making, concedes not only his life, but that also means they give away the air Drake for nothing.
And this is what we were saying in Champs, like when we were theorizing whether Hecarim would go top lane or jungle. That's the kind of thing that if that happened in top lane, Stabbable would be 10-0 right now, because as soon as Embrace Darkness goes in and he gets in Stabbable's face, he just dies. He just died. I mean, his whole team was there, and he's not alive anymore. What can you do as that Hecarim?
And I feel as if, you know, at this stage, you have to kind of concede top lane. CSO 67, sorry, buddy, you're on your own moving forward, because we cannot deal with this Alawi, and our pressure would be much better spent trying to get our Sivir online. At this stage, for Sean and friends, it is definitely going to be looking to be falling upon Satan's Blades as we go to those late game team fights to be able to sit back and just throw down as much DPS as possible, possibly through Stabbable. As in, you know, you bounce it off of Stabbable's face. Force feed that Alawi some pizza. Or maybe, you know, you wait for that Gryffindor flank. But CSO's Pop Blossoms, unfortunately, aren't going to have that big effect that they're going to be looking for.
Yeah, but that's fun, because he is going the Glacial Augment build, which is more the utility-focused style of playing Nico. So he is behind. He isn't going to do too much damage, but at least he has the utility for his team. Maybe slowing down that get-in-your-face style of comp that Hames and Talia and Stella will have, as well as the Kaiser, who really wants to maneuver in these team fights, dodging skill shots and dodging all the important damage with her E, which stealth her and gives her movement speed. So having the AoE slow fields on the ground with the Glacial Augment. Still useful, even though he is behind in lane.
The other thing that I find interesting right now is actually Hames in his build path. Yes, it's pretty conventional to go Spirit Visage second on a Nunu just because, you know, the heals you get off the Q means you can stay in the junk forever. But I'm worried that they're not giving enough respect right now to the amount of damage that Satan Blaze is going to be throwing late in this game.
Definitely not. I mean, he already has an Infinity Edge. Those AoE crits are going to be doing a butt ton of damage. And even at Ninja Taubes, just to get that damage reduced by a small amount would have been fine from Hames. But I guess he's just banking on the Aftershock to give him enough armor for him to survive in these fights. As we see the Pretender missing his ultimate, trying to get a pick on CSO 67.
They were going for the pick, and heck, if the Pretender had connected with that, that may have actually been the kill. As it is, though, it is enough to force CSO 67 away, so that should be a tower secured. Meanwhile, though, a reactive play in bot side, Talia caught out by the force that is Sean and his friends. A lot of ultimates used to secure that kill, and the tower will be taken as well. They're going to try and raise it. They actually get the first tower right out from Stabbable's nose. I thought it was for sure going to the red side.
I mean, 4 people is bigger than 2 people, and that's how fast they can take tower. But we see Stabbable teleporting now behind, looking for a flank. Maybe they want a team fight here.
Yeah, this is going to be a fight, and Amir's love is already quite low. The tower is not going to bring him down, but Stabbable just might, walking right into a bad situation, has to flash defensively. Meanwhile, up above, I believe that was a kill on Embrace Darkness. Gryffindor will be the next one to cut out. Amir's love, the one who was initially out of position, gets to walk away scot-free.
Yep, gives up his team's life for his own life. Really support player now. But in all seriousness, I mean, what can he do there except run, right? It's actually really good that he got away, or else it would have been a 3-for-0. I don't think there was any possible way for the rest of the team to live there. They all got caught out with him. So really good for Kansas Goons to capitalize on them greeting for that inner tower. As compensation, they do get the inner tower. So that's somewhat of a good thing for the side of Sean and friends.
But they might be giving up the mid-tier 2 at the same time. It's only Amir's love standing there to defend it until Embrace Darkness can arrive. Too little, too late. Actually, a lot of damage being thrown right back onto Amir's love. I do feel, yes, that was a good fight and good victory for the red side right now, but they didn't get their priority target, and that being Satan Blaze. This Sivir is still very scary, I feel, but at that same token, take a look at Lady Gaga fan. Take a look at Stabbable. Look at the bounties they have as well. I feel as if 1 versus 2, 2 is going to win. I can count. I know math.
That's definitely true. And we might see that 1 versus 2 coming up now because the dragon is spawning. They might be looking for contesting it as well. I mean, it's the Cloud Drake curse, Max.
Is it a Cloud Drake? It is another Cloud Drake. And I feel as you Embrace Darkness, you already let 1 slip through your hoofs this time around. Haha, Hecarim joke. But I don't think he wants to concede a second one this time around. Although positioning is definitely in favor of Kenzo's Goons, and it already appears to be getting dragged out of the pit. CSO is below, has to get through the tentacle zone so they know it's coming. And look at this response. They're going straight for Baron. There's no vision. It's blind.
I think Kansas Goons are smart enough to realize that this is happening, especially because no one is on the map, even though Kansas Goons waves are pushing towards the blue nexus, so it wouldn't make sense for no one to be clearing those out. Very smart for Kansas Goons to run straight towards the Baron, and are they starting it? No, they're just clearing vision. It's all good. Everything is fine and peaceful.
Yeah, we're not seeing a crazy, Baron exchange, at least just yet. Order has been restored. Second Cloud Drake was secured for Genzo's Goons. Sean and friends acting much more defensively this game around. Granted, it's only a 2-game deficit, so this game is far from over. But Baron control right now is in favor of Genzo's Goons, so they might be looking to make that sort of pick play. They've got the deep vision already set up. It's going to be very interesting to see who is going to be sent to sort of step into the unknown and try and force vision back in favor of the blue side. Embrace Darkness, Amir's love, acting as a good tandem team. Always ward with a buddy past 25 minutes.
That's definitely good advice. And Stabbable currently sitting on a Sterex gauge and a Black Cleaver, as well as the beginnings of a Death Dance. So once he gets that item, he's going to be unstoppable in that split push wherever he goes, top or bot, depending on what objective is up. But you have to send 1, 2, possibly even 3 people depending on who you send, and that's going to make a lot of space for Kenzo's goons to get deep vision, start objectives, even blind, knowing that no one can contest them because they're all out in whichever lane Stabbable is in.
That is true, as yet another tower will fall. So Stabbable definitely winning the top lane matchup against CSO 67. At this stage, all what Nico has to try and do is farm and get yourself a relevant build that you can still contribute in these team fights later in the game. The whole idea of the blue side team composition at this point moving forward is protect this Sivir. State and Blaze definitely not opting for a QSS right now, as they might be getting caught out. Gryffindor able to just escape, but Stabbable might want more. A lot of damage being thrown onto Mirror's Love that is, you know, not the actual one. Good little use of the Spooky Ghost warrant a disengage.
Yeah, Stabbable burning the Ilawi ultimate a bit too early. Wasn't really sure. If that hit, I would have been so impressed. But yeah, Stabbable not. I think using it a bit preemptively, because Sean and Friends didn't really commit to the fight. If anything, they were disengaging. So I think he should have held on to that ultimate, waited for them to overcommit to something. But now we see 5 of them walking towards Baron, maybe looking to set up a bait or even start it, because there's only 1 ward from the side of Sean and Friends there. And once that's cleared, there's going to be blind. But instead, they're opting to reset. They're all sitting on a decent amount of gold, looking to get those items before contesting a huge objective like Baron.
I feel as if resetting is almost risky right here, if only because at the moment, Kenzo's goons are sitting at a teleport disadvantage. So it would have been very beneficial for them to try and bait that teleport out of CSO 67 before going for the reset. That said, you have to do what you have to do. They want to get some of those item power spikes right now. You can see the Stinger being completed for Lady Gaga fan. I believe that was the Clawfield's Hammer now set up for Stabbable, or the Vampiric Scepter, I'm sorry. That was the most recent build. So a bit more sustained coming out for Stabbable on that sideline pressure. Teleport about to come up as well, so the TP advantage is already pretty much negated. It's a good situation.
Yeah, definitely. And his teleport is coming back up right now, so he can stay in that split push. Talking about Stabbable, of course. And keeping either one of these top laners in that bot lane is probably advantageous for either side. Both of them have that insane teamfight potential, and while CSO is behind, he still has that insane utility coming out of his build, as well as his AoE ultimate and snare. And we see Stabbable pushing in the wave, goes, gets a vision, resets, and now we'll see where he wants to go after getting that reset. Maybe finishing a Death Dance. Doesn't have... Yeah, that's what he's doing. He finished the Death Dance, so now he's a split pushing machine. No one is going to be able to touch him. The only person with healing reduction... 2 people with healing reduction on the side of Sean and Friends, which are Gryffindor and Satan Blaze. But if you send both of those carries down to deal with Stabbable, they're not there for any fight happening around Baron or Dragon, and a third Cloud Drake spawning as I'm speaking. But
is that 3 games in a row with 3 Cloud Drakes?
I think first one only had 1 or 2.
First one may have only had 2. Yeah.
Yeah, that's... Wow, I can't believe that you weren't BSing me.
You're casting with me. It's Cloud Drake o'clock.
That's amazing. That's so... Riot actually been planning this for a while now. They knew you were casting Rumble Finals. But we see Stabbable grouping with his team.
Yeah,
and
this
Haynes rolling it in.
Embrace Darkness caught out. Here comes the depth charges. Look at him go down through the vision. Embrace Darkness in a lot of strife. Haynes trying to chase him down. A sacrificial Amira's Love steps in front of him. He may die for it. The flash is used. What a pick, meanwhile, by Gryffindor actually taking down Lady Gaga fan. And all of a sudden, this could be the fight shot of Friends. Watch, Gryffindor hits the charm on Natalia. The follow-up damage is there. 2 members down for Kenzo's goons. They might be looking at Barons themselves.
Yeah, while Gryffindor did do all the damage, I actually want to credit Amer's Love, because he was the one who landed the 3-man Solar Flare that caught all of them and allowed Gryffindor to get a charm onto Lady Gaga fan and burst him down. And now Kenzo's goons on the back foot on this this Baron fight. I don't think they'll be able to
still up, though.
contest this.
Ames is still up and he has the snowball, so he actually might be looking for this fight, but instead they're going to turn right on him. That's Satan Blaze trying to do what he can to this Nuno, but he's away from this team. The Absolute Zero might absolutely wreck the Sivir. Down it goes, and all of a sudden it's a 1-for-2 all up.
I don't think Sean and friends were on the same page there, because you saw two people going up to match the Nunu and then everyone else just legging it down to their base. They were definitely not united in that call, and if they were, the outcome of that fight could have been very different, since we're good at Matt's max. Matt's max, wow. We're good at Matt's
Well, that's just
max.
it. It wasn't two people
5 is
going up,
higher
though.
than 3.
It wasn't two people going up, though. It was CSO's clone.
Oh! Wow, so half a
Dating his
person.
own team. Perhaps
is-
to a situation.
That's unbelievable. I mean, if they all committed to the same call, it would have been a vastly different outcome.
It could have been, but woulda, coulda, shouldas are not what decide Rumble Finals here. As we see at 32 minutes and 20 seconds, this is probably going to be our longest game if it isn't already, and is still only a rough 2k gold differential. Yet, if we were to judge this game by the tempo of it, it has been all in favor of this red side. This is the rally that we wanted to see out of Kenzo's Goons to possibly make this a series. Gryffindor, Ultimate and Charm used, thought they had a chance to possibly get a pick on the Pretender, but those are two critical sort of abilities used. Like, no Ultimate now, Gryffindor might find himself a target.
I'm just gonna say, Emerald's Love also blew the ultimate. I don't know if it was a misclick, but he used the Solar Flare in the middle of a wall. I'm not sure what that was, but that could be very disadvantageous for the side of Sean and friends if Kenzo's Goons want to capitalize on two crucial ultimates missing from the side of Sean and friends.
Yep.
But the wave clear from Sivir is just too much.
Well, I mean, that's just it, though. If like they want to capitalize, now's the time. If we take a look back to the last team fight, those were the two abilities used to actually put it in favor of Sean and friends and enable them to win that fight. That said, Kenzo's Goons, they're doing back to what's been working for them so far this game, and that's throwing Stabbable down on the bot side, shoving CSO 67 in a position where he can't really react, get that map pressure, and, you know, keep trying to bleed out this blue side.
Yeah, and also, I don't really like the fact that Stabbable wants to group with this team.
Charm.
Ooh. He's burst down a fair bit, but he'll heal it all back up with Death Dance if he elects to go back to bot lane, although it does look for a recall. Probably building a Guardian's Angel, gonna sell that Doran's Blade most likely in favor of a Chain Vest or a BF Sword.
Yeah,
See
we're
what
seeing
he's
actually a
gonna
lot
do.
of that.
Oh,
It's going to be a big reset right now
yeah.
for Kenzo's Goons, and in response, take a look. Always ward with the buddy, embrace darkness, a mirror is love, going to clear up some of that vision around that Baron pit, but they have to be a kind of fast. Elder Dragon's actually going to be spawning very soon.
Yeah, just want to point out there's not much armor being picked up on the side of Kenzo's Goons, only a Dead Man's Plate as well as a Zeke's Convergence from Talia.
Oh my god, the speed of this Nunu!
That was beautiful.
Rocketing through, like, that is the power of 3 Cloud Drakes right there, and they're actually looking to go ahead and start this Baron up off of the reset coming out of Sean and friends, and heck, you have a Nunu, this Baron should get obliterated.
Yeah.
It only appears as if, you know, maybe Amir might get there in time, but the health bar's too low. The Baron will go down, and that is a huge steal for Kenzo's Goons.
Yeah, I love the call from Kenzo's Goons, and my game is paused right now. Is yours still
I'm
going?
I will
Alright.
pause at 35:15.
Yep.
That will be a good time to pause. I want to get back into this one as
Yep.
fast as possible because this game is heating up.
5:15.
It's not loading for me, so I think you two should just continue on with the cast, because I don't know what's happening on my
Feel free to
end.
restart.
Oh, I'm back on
Oh,
it.
yeah, are you
Alright,
good?
Cool. I'll tell you when I'm at 3:15.
Sure thing.
I mean 35:15. I don't know what that was, but I'm very happy that I'm back able to cast this game because Dragon is spawning, and it's an Elder Drake. And in 3 seconds, I will be at 3:15. 14, 15, 16.
Wait, yeah,
17,
we're pausing,
18.
pause.
18.
Alright.
Okay, pause. At 20.
Pause 20.
At 20.
Pause 20. Yeah.
Patrick's
Pause at
OP.
20. Elder Dragon has just been started.
Alright, pause at 20. Everyone pause at 20?
Okay.
Yep.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, 3, 2, 1, unpause.
All right, it's 21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
good.
I'm assuming we're good because no one's told me to stop.
Yep,
Elder
we are
Dragon
all
has
good.
been started. This is going to be the steal amongst all steals if Gryffindor goes for it. Embrace Darkness already down to half, yet his presence alone is enough to scare away, at least temporarily, the forces of Enzo's goons. Talia said before looking for it, and here comes the engage, but it's still secured by Hames, and they want to fight as well. A big ultimate coming out of the Pretender doesn't do as much as he's hoping for, but it doesn't matter. With that buff, they are burning through the health bars of Sean and his friend CSO. Hits the pop blossom, but it's not enough to bring down the Pretender. A triple kill for Lady Gaga fan, and with Gryffindor still alive, it may become a quadra. Here comes the snowball from Hames. A flash over the wall keeps Gryffindor alive, trying to buy as much time as possible, but in the base, Stabbable is putting in work. That will be the first inhibitor tower going down, and he may want more as well. Look at a reaction coming out of the entirety of Kenzo's goons. They may have just won this game.
Yeah, I mean, with Baron buff and Elder Drake buff, is there really anything that Sean and Friends can do? I think they're guaranteed to win this game at this point.
Yeah, no, it's 10 seconds might be too long unless Gryffindor can pull off the miracle amongst all miracles. The Nexus is being worked. Yes, a mirror of love is there, but it's too little, too late. We are going to game number 4.
And wow, Kenzo's goons pulling a trick out of the hat, pulling out the Nunu, doing so much work, getting that objective control, gets the Baron followed instantly by the Elder Drake. Those 3 Cloud Drakes, while we were memeing them up, they actually helped with the rotations and how quickly they were able to get to those objectives. And that's what won them the game.
Yeah, I think it was very strong play as well. And I have to give credit to Stabbable. Yeah, the kill participation might not be there, but the amount of pressure he was just putting down in that side lane throughout, not to mention those 2 kills he did get were in 2v1 situations, really putting Embrace Darkness back down, sit back down. You've had 2 pop-off games. Now it's my turn to show off. So kudos there as well. And hey, we have a series. I was afraid we were just going to get the 3-0 stomp, but no, we still have at least one more game of League of Legends to be played.
Yeah, all this means is that I just have to stay up a bit later tonight to play Teamfight Tactics. I would much rather watch this series and keep casting it because it's looking to be a very spicy one. I did predict the 3-0 at the start, and I have been proven wrong, but you still haven't been proven wrong. A reverse sweep could be coming our way, especially with the last time that Sean and Friends lost a game in a series, they got reverse swept. So, it could be, Max. You could be right.
Could be on to something fun. That said, more League of Legends will be coming at you after yet another quick break, but please do not go anywhere. Game 4.
We're going to have
soon.
a 15-minute break this time, just so everyone can have a bit of a breather. Because damn, that game is spicy.
Yeah, all good.
All right.
Cool.
We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Throwing me off right there. My goodness. But here we go. It's time for game number 4 in our best of 5 series between Sean and Friends on the red side and Kenzo's goons on the blue side. We've learned a lot these first 3 games. Where do you see this pick and ban phase going?
I think we're going to see the same jungle bans, actually. Not the same jungle bans. I mean the same style of, focus the jungle away, because that seemed to work pretty well for both teams, if I'm being honest, in terms of drop. So hopefully we see the same thing.
Yeah, hopefully we see something fun go down. I would like to see some differences. I'd like to see, once again, the Ahri left up for Gryffindor. I am still happy to see Nocturne being banned away from Embrace Darkness. We've already seen enough of that. I also want to see the Anivia banned as well.
Yeah, I agree. The Anivia ban was very good, and when they picked it, he was definitely a focal point for that team. So I definitely think the Anivia ban is something smart. Maybe not first phase if they want to keep taking junglers off the table, but definitely second phase if they haven't picked it already.
No, but they will go away first phase. I think Gryffindor would be confident enough to lock that in almost within the first phase of picks. Illaoi is being taken away from Stabbable as well. I feel as if Sean and his friends have learned their lesson the first time around, and that last ban will be thrown towards the Sejuani. So Hames does have some Mumu available. That could be something that could be first pick prioritized, or that Kaisa, which has been pretty much, I think, 100% win rate so far in this tournament. Or in this final, I should say.
Yeah, it has actually, now that you mention it. Maybe that is the secret sauce. But only 4 jungle bans this time around. That's not 6. That's very disappointing. But we do see also priority on the Nautilus. It's being hovered. Most likely going to be locked in. I don't think there's another champion. And yep, there it is. Also do keep in mind I'm like a couple seconds behind on the pick ban. So if I sound out of sync, audience, it's because there's no space in Riot's spectator client. But the Nautilus is locked in. And I'm not too surprised by that. Nautilus Kai'Sa is a very dangerous combo that you don't want to play against at all.
No, you don't. But instead, they will be going up against Nautilus Caitlyn. So Satan Blaze going to be sitting on the Caitlyn this time around. Kind of fits with the Nautilus. I mean, it's actually a fairly safe lane just because of how inherently safe a Caitlyn is in lane. Yet you still have that ability to push that go button and go in should the opportunity arise, especially if they coincide their engage with the headshot. And that has to be a placeholder because
that's definitely a placeholder.
Yeah, Kiana is not allowed in this tournament.
Oh, yep, it is permaban, so we will get information on what that placeholder is. Because that champion is not allowed. I do hope to see a mage bot lane support coming out of Kenzo's Goons, because if you pick a melee support alongside Kai'Sa, who only has 550 range, possibly shorter, I'm not too sure, against that Caitlyn, you are not going to have a fun time in the lane, and you might not even get to that Kai'Sa's infamous late game scaling. So I think a mage support to counteract the fact that there's a Caitlyn might be something that Kenzo's Goons should consider. I do know Aimer is loved. I mean, Talia does play a couple of casters. I don't know if he plays any carry supports, so we'll see. Hi, what is the placeholder?
News update. Kiana is Urgot.
Okay, cool.
Oh, so Stabable is going to be getting the Urgot away from CSO 67. That's actually interesting. And I also do like how Kenzo's Goons were able to get themselves that Lux again once more on the Pretender. I think it was huge, that game 3, in helping them get the win. In response, though, Vladimir is going to be going over to CSO 67, so that is still a comfort pick for CSO.
Yeah, they're taking the reverse of the matchup from game 1, who CSO 67 did win that matchup as Urgot into Vladimir, and if he does it again on Vladimir into Urgot, then he can prove it's not the powerful champion, it's actually him that's the powerful player behind the champion.
That could very well be the case. Not too surprising to see Nico banned away as well, taken pretty much...
Oh, actually, I just want to bring up something real quick, is that Vladimir is not locked into top lane, by the way, because Gryffindor has ran the Vladimir mid before.
Okay, so it's a flex pick Vladimir. That's good to know. I mean, Vlad into Lux doesn't really seem like the best matchup to me, so I'd be very surprised to see it taken mid lane. I'm pretty sure CSO will probably
but he
be
also
the one.
Doesn't die in that matchup. I mean, Vladimir is not exactly the best champion before level 9, so maybe they'll opt into picking it into Lux if they think Gryffindor can really pop off on it. As we see, Brom and Nunu banned away from Sean and friends. Brom as the counter pick to the Nautilus, and Nunu because of Haim's amazing performance on it last game. And on the side of Kenzo's Goons, we see Nico taken away, which is a priority pick for both of these teams, as well as Jax to ban CSO 67 on the off chance that Vladimir is actually going mid lane.
No surprises happening, as well as Rek'Sai will be taken by Embrace Darkness. You're sort of limiting his champion pool by getting rid of the Nocturne and the J4, so he's going to go ahead and opt for the Rek'Sai this time. Last game, things didn't go so well for him, so maybe it'll be a bit better with the Void Hunter, I believe is the phrasing. I'm not sure. The Void Queen, Sand Queen, Worm, Tremors. Amumu locked in for Hames. Very competent on that Amumu in game number 2. Actually, I thought was the best member on the team despite the losing effort, so not too surprised to see him go back to that comfort there. And with only 2 picks left, where do you see this one going?
Hopefully I see a really strong support, like I was saying, a caster that can match the Caitlyn perk, and Lulu is something that I was expecting Talia to bring out here. It is actually a really strong comfort pick for him. It doesn't exactly match the perk that I was thinking maybe from a Brand or a Lock support. or a Vel'Koz or something like that, even though those aren't exactly the most viable picks. But the Lulu still has a fair amount of poke in lane, can do a lot of damage to this Caitlyn, and definitely wear down the Nautilus with auto attacks, getting the Spellfly Sprox as we see Syndra locked in for Gryffindor. This is very exciting. Syndra into the Lux is actually a really good matchup because the way you beat Lux is by picking assassins. Now, Syndra's not an assassin, but she can 100 to 0 you real fast.
Exactly just that, and do it from a safe distance as well. Not to mention, with Syndra, you have that better synergy with the Rek'Sai, who can be built pretty, like, assassin-like when you get that warrior enchant. Before you start optimizing into a more tanky build, you actually do assassin-level damages at the start of the game, so I feel as if that Sean and friends are resorting back to what won them game 1 and 2, and that is going to be that jungle mid synergy and just working together as a team. Syndra and Rek'Sai do that very, very well, especially against a Lux, especially against what could be a slower jungle in this Amumu. This could be very good for Sean.
Definitely, and I don't see the Pretender living in laning phase. He has to die. There's no way that he doesn't die at least at one point in this game before 10 minutes, because with the Rek'Sai and with Syndra, sure, they'll burn his flash one time, maybe he lives, just comes back again, ganks him again, either the stun or the knock-up lands, and that Lux is good as dead. So the Pretender either has to play very, very safe, take a barrier, take a heal, maybe even take TP, because if he accepts the fact that he's going to die, he can use TP to mitigate the losses, and just play with caution, because the Rek'Sai's mid lane ganking with Syndra is not something that you can ignore. He is going to have a hard time this game, and hopefully he can somewhat stabilize.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to watch because not even the Flash really can keep you alive post level 6. That said, the gank pre-6 might not be as strong as it is from, like, let's say level 6 through 10. That, I think, is when the Pretender is going to be most vulnerable to the Gryffindor Darkness combination. But, that still is a very optimal time, especially if Gryffindor is able to start roaming. I can see this be turning into a very fed and happy Syndra this game. As once again, we will be going through our picks and bans because there was that placeholder pick. It was an Urgot, nothing more, nothing less than that. So hopefully this will go by relatively quickly and we can get to the action soon.
Yeah, and I agree with what you were saying about the pre-level 6 ganks not being as potent, but there is a chance that Embrace Darkness takes Hail of Blades on the Rek'Sai and goes fully 100% investment onto that early game, because Hail of Blades Rek'Sai early game is like Nocturne on steroids. You don't need to wait for the lethal tempo, you just go in and you instantly have those 3 empowered auto attacks, instantly get your true damage bite with the full Fury bar, and that's almost someone's full health bar just gone. You also get the reset with Q, so you can actually get 4 Hail of Blade autos, technically speaking.
I mean, I feel as if that's just the norm when you go on Rek'Sai, right? Like, what
some
other
people
summoner would you
go Conqueror to mitigate her late game dropping off. I've seen in competitive, a lot of people, if they're one of the main front lines, which he is in this case, technically, Vladimir's not exactly a front line, but they do go Conqueror so that they're somewhat useful late game when they don't have the same damage that Rek'Sai does in the early game.
Yeah, I think that might be the smarter pick this time around because, yes, there is a Nautilus on the side of Sean and friends, but I don't think a Nautilus on its own really is going to be a sustainable front line should this game go plus 30 minutes, which has happened now, I believe, the past 2 games, or maybe only the past one went post 30. That said, though, if it's the strategy for Sean and friends to just crush this game and try and get it done as fast as possible, yeah, we might see that Hail of Blades on the Rek'Sai.
Yeah, if Embrace Darkness really wants to invest in it, he may as well. But also, top lane is again one of these 2 champions that don't they just don't do anything in laning phase. They just want to scale. I mean, Urgot is technically a strong laner, but when you're against a Vladimir, how are you going to kill him really?
Yeah, he's a hard one to shut down. It's really all about timing. You have to wait for the pool to be used in lane, possibly incorrectly, and then jump in for the gank. That said, though, Urgot into Vlad is definitely that kind of situation where you could see a premature pool followed up by the bandage touch out of Hames in the right place at the right time. Maybe they can get something. I mean, we saw it in game one, right? We saw CSO 67 actually take it to Valuable's Vladimir, so I don't want to say this is like an unwinnable lane or an unkillable lane whatsoever.
Yeah, that's definitely true. The lane is definitely heavily favored, like one way or another, depending on the skill matchup. I think more what I was trying to say is that the jungler influence on this lane isn't as big as it has been as in the past games, as in like the Nico versus what was the champ last game?
It was Nico versus Alawi.
Yeah, Nico Alawi. That's like a very volatile lane matchup compared to Vlad and Urgot. Even though, of course, there will definitely be a winning lane. But what do you think of the bot lane with Kai'Sa Lulu against Caitlyn and Nautilus?
I mean, I like the Lulu pick, I think, a bit more than you did. I know you said you want to see something more akin to a Brand. I just don't think Brand offers that same late game team fight utility that a Lulu does, especially when you can sort of synergize those ultimates with Hames, like bandage tossing in, and then you wild growth it and get that huge knockup. Or in response to engages onto Lady Gaga fan, like let's say Embrace Darkness gets in this Kai'Sa's face, wild growth to Kai'Sa, buy some time, possibly make the save. I think Lulu in late game team fights is an absolute monster, so I do really enjoy this pick. But the laning phase may be hard. The kill potential and the kill pressure should be coming from Sean and friends on this Nautilus. The engage with the follow-up from the Caitlyn, there is enough time to drop a Yordle trap if the chain CC is done correctly. And that's just even more damage being put down. So you could be seeing some all-ins as soon as level 4 coming out of Sean.
Yeah, that's definitely true. There is like two ways to respond to this Caitlyn Nautilus. Like, what I thought was they would go for a carry pick and try and do the same amount of poke that Caitlyn does back to them. But the other way to go for it is get that Lulu, try and mitigate as much damage as possible with the shielding in lane, and try and get those somewhat minor Q poke. It's actually pretty big early game, levels 1, 2, 3, or 4, but afterwards the Q damage does tend to fall off. But overall, getting that Kai'Sa to her late game power spike, and like you were saying, the Lulu with her insane teamfight potential is the way that they chose to go. They have a lot of trust in Lady Gaga fan, and hopefully that trust is well placed.
That they do, and I think so far from what we've seen out of the series, Lady Gaga fan has kind of been, I want to say, the star almost, or definitely close to it, coming out of Kenzo's Goons. It's definitely been the most consistent member thus far. So if you're going to put your trust in anyone, yeah, why not Lady Gaga fan? They were definitely the strong suit during the semifinals as well to get to said finals. And yeah, if now it's time to shine, I mean, it's do or die, right? You lose this game, you lose the championship in the finals, which is a tough pill to swallow. On the reverse side, however, I like how Sean and friends are putting a lot of faith into Satan Blaze, but at the same time, Gryffindor, I think, actually can be quite enabled as well on the Syndra, but it is still more of that supporting mage, kind of similar to the Anivia in terms of its role in the team composition, and I like that a lot more.
Yeah, definitely, and they also have the late game insurance of CSO 67 on that Vladimir pick. If all goes wrong and they can get that one champion ahead, then he's definitely the one to carry these late game fights, especially with such a squishy backline in Lux and Kai'Sa. I mean, Lulu can only ult one of them, so the other one is for sure dead if the Vlad gets a great flank off. And the main thing that I want to see out of Hames on this Amumu is focusing a lot on bot side and potentially mid, even though Gryffindor does have the cleanse. getting bot lane priority and sticking around, just shadowing them, making sure that they don't get ganked or engaged on by this bot lane, because Rek'Sai and Nautilus, that's a hell of a gank setup right there.
It is, and it's a lot of damage as well. I really do appreciate the team composition that Sean and friends have put together. I think I like it a little bit more than what I'm seeing out of Kenzo's Goons. Just because Kenzo's Goons, I don't like their team fight as much, I should say. I feel like they're playing very far away from each other almost. It's hard to explain. Let me try and rephrase this. Everyone wants to fight from such a vastly different position. I feel as if Talia is going to be spread so thin, trying to protect everyone almost.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you mean by that. But on the plus side, there is a good amount of synergy between the team. You know, Amumu lands that Q, and then there's the follow-up Q from Lux, or the Urgot, his follow-up CC, as well as the bonus true damage from the Amumu passive, helping out the Lux and the Kai'Sa damage. So hopefully, even though their team fight does look a bit difficult to organize and have a plan for, maybe they can thrive in the chaos with all the AoE that they can put out, as well as DPS coming out from Lady Gaga fan.
Is Giant Enemy Crabgot the best splash art in the game?
I mean, it has to be. Cool, awesome.
Awesome, fantastic.
Alright, cool. Getting into game 4 of this series between Kenzo's Goons and Sean and friends in the UNSW LoLSoc finals, and they're doing a standard fan, although CSO67 hovering more next to Gryffindor. I think they're adapting to what the Pretender did 2 games ago when he was on blue side, invading a bit slightly for that Raptor ward, so maybe they want to catch him out if he tries to do the same thing here.
Yeah, that could be the situation. What I find more interesting, though, is we were all kind of correct in our prediction at the start of the game. Embrace Darkness, opting for the Hail of Blades. So we're going to be seeing a very aggressive Rek'Sai in this matchup.
Yeah, and actually also an Electrocute coming out of Gryffindor rather than the Comet, opting more for that all-in damage onto the Lux, as well as a Lethal Temper coming out of Caitlyn. I'm not sure if that's standard. Can you run multiple things on Caitlyn?
What do you mean run multiple things?
But like, can you go any of the precision runes other than Conqueror?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, Fleet Footwork isn't the best on Caitlyn, but Lethal Tempo and Press the Attack are each very, very strong. It just kind of depends on how you want to play. The Lethal Tempo, to me, tells me that they want to play possibly a bit safer in the bot lane. So matching that with the Electrocute, with the Hail of Blades, I definitely feel as if Sean and friends are going to be very mid-focused, and I'm wondering if that's going to be picked up by Kenzo's.
Yeah, and hopefully Hames, as a response, does the same thing, hovers around mid lane, is there for the counter gank, trying to make sure his mid lane stays alive. The Pretender finally opting for the barrier that I've been wanting to see out of him for quite a few games now. Maybe the first game he was right in taking that cleanse, but after that, I think the barrier was definitely the correct choice, and now he's finally adopted it. Hopefully he can save his bot a few times, as we see a short trade coming out in bot lane, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of that with Caitlyn and Nautilus.
I actually find it interesting that this time around it's Gryffindor who is taking the cleanse into the Pretender's Lux. After what we saw game 1, a lot of that harass coming out of the Pretender, Gryffindor was thinking, maybe I would have been better off avoiding it. So that's a good show of respect, opting to cleanse where the Pretender will be throwing.
Yep, learning from what he's doing. I mean, it's also because Syndra is not anywhere near as mobile as Ahri, so maybe respecting the fact that, yes, the Pretender can land those binds and delete 70% of your HP bar, so being able to cleanse and get out of that binding is very important. But I think in team fights, he has to perfectly use that cleanse to avoid the follow-up CC, because as soon as you're rooted for more than a fraction of a second, the follow-up CC is already coming through. That Amumu bandage toss is coming, the Urgot E is also coming out, so cleansing the moment that CC hits you is going to be very important.
Yeah, it will be. As a huge dredge line, actually connecting with the Ignite being dropped as well. Lady Gaga fan in a lot of strife is able to hold on to both summoners for now, but already kind of getting forced out of lane, having to chug those health pots. But be wary, Hames is looming just above right now, not going to commit for the gank this.
Being honest, this is one of the games where I would have liked to see a teleport coming out of Lady Gaga fan. This is a lane where you're going to get poked out, you're going to get engaged on a lot, and I feel like you don't need the heal. If you're in a position where you're gonna die, heal is most likely not gonna save you. But right now, his health pots are healing him back up. If he had teleport, a bit more poke, he could just grab whatever item he needs and come back with that teleport.
Yeah, as it is right now, unfortunately for Lady Gaga fan, they're going to have to try and defend underneath tower lest they risk the all-in. That said, Amir's Love is a summoner down, so Ignite no longer available for Sean and friends. Mid lane's the focus right now. Pretender walking to try and get the ward. The flash is actually predicted. The chain CC is down. Pretender quite low. Gets a double luminous binding and will escape for now.
Yeah, very good binding by the Pretender, but that's the barrier saving his life. I don't think Cleanse could have done anything there, so I'm really glad that he took that summoner. I actually want to criticize Lady Gaga fan a little. Opting for the Doran's Blade rather than a Doran's Shield into that matchup, I believe, is very poor item choice.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it comes from confidence, almost thinking it doesn't matter that I'm against the Caitlyn Nautilus. I would be able to do this, but another Dredge line connecting the Polymorph put on the Nautilus and not on Saiyan Blaze means so much damage is going to go down onto this Talia. And
I just want to say, that Lulu was full health before that.
Yeah,
full
I mean,
HP.
if the Ignite had been available, that could have been a kill. And this is the aggressive play that was missing out of Sean and friends in Game 3. Game 4, however, definitely going Red Side's way. Everything from, constant dread lines connecting to Embrace Darkness, the predictive, engage, anticipating that flash and still being able to catch the Pretender, forcing out both summoners from that mid lane. Like, where is Hames? He needs to step up now because his side is bleeding summoners fast.
Yeah, and this is exactly the bot lane dynamic that Kansas Goons opted into. They saw the Caitlyn and Nautilus, and as a response, they chose a Lulu, really investing into that late game carry of Lady Gaga fans. So they can't complain at the moment. All they can do is hope that they can last longer than 20 minutes and allow him to pop off on that Kai'Sa, while the Pretender, now flashless and without a barrier, has to be careful. He does see their X-Side though. You can see the pings on the minimap, so thankfully he won't be getting caught this time. But he won't have that bush warded in the future, and he has to play very carefully, especially with his wave pushing towards Gryffindor, who's now setting up a freeze, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, Gryffindor is in a very good position, was able to get a lot of farm before backing. Well, actually, should have enough gold for a considerable purchase right now.
Yeah, he can get
Sitting
boots
on
and a lost
1600.
chapter, which
Yep.
is really good for him. Gets boots to get back to lane faster, as well as dodge those Lux bindings. Hard to get engaged on in that bot lane. Mid lane, my bad.
As the moment, though, Hames has been content just to power farm. He's probably thinking, you know what? Yeah, our lanes are getting beat up a bit, but no one's actually given up any kills yet, which is a bit of a win. I can continue to power farm. I'm getting ever closer to 6, and that's where we might be seeing the Curse of the Sad Mummy start to come into play. I mean, the fact that Embrace Darkness actually hasn't got a successful gank in this mid lane yet, like a successful kill, I should say, and is actually down CS, is quite critical for Sean and friends, because you've missed that one window. Okay, Hames, as soon as he hits level 6, he is going to be online, and all of a sudden you are going to be playing a 2 jungle game.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and now they see Embrace Darkness on that bot side. Plus, Hames already sweeped his jungle, seeing all the camps were up, knew that he would be pathing there shortly, but now they get confirmation of it because of the Scuttle Crab, and bot lane, while they were already playing safe before, playing even safer now to avoid death. While at the moment, CSO67 is with a considerable health lead in this top lane, and Stabbable actually opting for the Executioner's Calling first back to mitigate some of this, but I think CSO67 has disconnected
Yeah, this is a
from the
disconnected.
game.
That was a disconnect right there. Bit of an oops moment. I was wondering what he was doing, if he was pretending to disconnect. And then we saw Stabbable go in. I was like, all right, the trap has been sprung. But no, that was a legitimate disconnect. So it is our gray screen pause. Something else I was noticing throughout all of this, which is one of the benefits to having a Rek'Sai jungle as opposed to an Amumu jungle, is at the moment in mid lane, Gryffindor has blue buff. The Pretender does not. And that is a big advantage when it comes to harass in favor of Gryffindor.
That's definitely true, especially on a Lux, one of those champions that is so mana dependent in lane, as she's constantly throwing out abilities to poke and to wave clear, but luckily does have the Lost Chapter and the Dark Seal and the Doran's Ring, so hopefully those three combined can provide enough of a mana pool as well as enough mana regen to survive until the next back.
Yeah, I mean, I believe, at the moment, the Pretender might be fine because taking a look at the ward positioning, even if Embrace Darkness makes his way towards the Lux, will be spotted, so everything should be A-O-K-O there, assuming the Pretender is paying attention to said minimap and won't get themselves caught out. That said, we are getting right back into game at the moment. 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, we are all in sync still.
Cool.
And on that note, actually, it appears Embrace Darkness is making their way bot side. Could be a potential gank if the dredge line is able to connect.
Yeah, I just want to point out real quick in all chat that that Stababble was apologizing for trading with CSO 67 because he didn't know he was AFK. Bit of nice sportsman-like behavior coming from the top laner. As we see bot lane, the side of Sean and friends looking to get that Infernal Drake, and even though Kenzo's goons have vision of it, they can't do anything as a response since they don't have any bot lane priority, and they are weaker in the 3v3.
They don't have bot lane or mid lane priority, so unless they get some crazy steal, but a good body block from Amira's Love is able to help secure it. 9 minutes into this game, Infernal Drake has been taken by the red side. Gryffindor does connect with the Scatter of the Week. A bit of follow-up is not going to be there, at least just yet. Both junglers have made their way to the mid lane, so if anything goes down, it will be a 2v2 situation. No one committing, everyone backing up.
Cool.
I might be 1 second behind.
You just press plus.
24. All in happening, meanwhile, on the top side of the map at the moment. And the big ultimate has been dropped onto Gryffindor, so a lot of harass going down as I'm just going to hit plus and try and get back in.
Let's just pause at... Yeah, pause at 40.
Yeah. Pause.
Yeet.
Yes, sir.
Cool. And... Yep.
Might be a little bit behind, but not bad.
Plus...
Half a second.
Alright, it's cool. We can pause again if you would like to. Since you want to play-by-play.
Sure, 10 minutes.
Cool, 10 minutes.
Alright.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, that'll do.
Cool. We are
It's
good
not
to go.
millisecond perfect. Ah!
I know it's so frustrating, but unfortunately we don't have the resources to coordinate it perfectly. But Sean and friends seem to be getting these Infernal Drakes every time they're up, even though there's only been 2 this whole series. But they do get it, and it always favors them more. They have a lot more champions building AP and AD, so really nice for them to pick that up.
Yeah, I think at the moment too, with the way how this game is going as well, like, should it continue? Sean and friends are definitely happy at the pace of this one, only because of like across the board CS leads in every single lane, over 10 as well. Like, it's significant CS differentials, and that's actually the differentials in the gold in this game at the moment, as no tower plating has fallen in any lane.
Yeah, but this is expected out of all these lanes. The good thing for Kenzo's goons and what they can rejoice in is the fact that they haven't given over any kills or objectives at all. As we see, Hames looking for a gank here. Has bandage toss available.
Comes out early, actually, so flash needs to be used in order to dodge the bandage toss.
That was amazing by Hames, saving the bandage toss, waiting for the Sanguine Pull to expire. That was really good play, a really good gank, and this is an advantage that they now have. Stabble can play much more aggressively onto this Vladimir.
Yeah, and it was a bit of a misplay out of CSO 67. Waited to too prematurely with the Sanguine Pool. You have to wait until that bandage toss is on its way, otherwise you might waste it. Meanwhile, Dredgeline does connect onto Talia. Depth charge going down onto Gaga Fan as well. In mid lane, that might be where the kill is. The Pretender is the one who goes down. A huge ultimate does secure it, but Haynes is there for the re-engage, so it's 1-for-1 in the mid lane.
And bot lane did not get a kill onto Talia. He blows the flash, but that's fine. He doesn't die. He stays alive, and that's so perfect. Oh my gosh! Long.
The headshot Yordle trap does too much damage, takes down Talia, so it's a 2-1 lead right now for Sean and friends.
That's so you cannot step onto that trap, my friend. Not when you are below half HP, especially as a Lulu. And now they've gotten 3 tower plates onto this tower, possibly a 4th if this minion wave holds up, but maybe not this time.
Oh no,
my
but Lady Gaga
God.
fan is one in trouble. Oh, is not able to get on that. I mean, you saw what Amir's Love was looking for right there. Dredgeline doesn't connect this time around, but with this next wave, tower plating may fall. The Pretender has made its way to bot lane. It's going to try and stop it. The Harasser's going down onto Amir, who is actually quite low and taking some tower shots. 1 or 2 more autos will get that last plating. It is able to be secured, and that is now a huge lead for Satan Blaze. Officially, taking a look at it, it's about 1,100 in this Caitlyn's favor.
Yeah, and I actually really like that play by the Pretender to realize, hey, I just reset and I have the opportunity to go help out my bot lane. I may as well do it. I can prevent the enemy bot lane from getting this first blood tower and keep it alive for a bit longer. But I actually would have really liked for Lady Gaga fan and Talia, when Talia got low, I would have liked them both to just reset, go back to base, and make their way straight up to that Rift Herald, because that bot lane tower is going to fall. Nothing you can do about it. Caitlyn is 100% going to get that, so you may as well get an objective on the other side of the map that you can use to create somewhat of a... You can diminish the gold difference that Sean and Friends is building at the moment just through a war of attrition.
Can we talk about that sweeper noise?
I can't hear it.
You guys not
I
hear it?
can't hear it. I have my game muted.
Oh my gosh, it's
Wait,
like
is it-
when someone Zanya's and it gets paused.
Whose is it?
It's like a.
I'm really happy that I can't hear it.
Okay, I think Sean's reconnected.
Max, please. That thing, I actually have
annoying
PTSD
noises.
from that.
I'm just getting looks right now from the other people I'm like sharing this space with at the moment. The looks are not approving. Quite the opposite.
Do they play TFT?
Everyone plays TFT.
They know what's up. This is why they don't approve of you. Let's talk about the upcoming minutes while we wait for this pause to end. Infernal Drake is spawning in 50 seconds, and the play will resume in 2 seconds, so let's just sync up real quick.
Yep, no worries. I will pause
6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, I think we're good. I think Max is good too.
I'm a second ahead, but now I'm on good, so I synced it up while you guys were talking, so we don't need to pause.
So yep, the dragon is coming up.
Darkness is actually going on the Pretender right now. The follow-up Scatter of the Week is there. It's an easy kill secured by Gryffindor.
That's what we're saying, the Hail of Blaze Electric. Did you know the Pretender popped the barrier in that? Did you see the barrier? I didn't see that barrier. Electrocute Hail of Blades. They didn't even use ultimates. Embrace Darkness and Gryffindor both have their ultimates up. The Pretender popping his health like so fast, and the barrier health as well. And now Lady Gaga's taking a trade for no reason against this Caitlyn.
And this is gold being funneled onto the 2 champions that you do not want it funneled on. Gryffindor has been like arguably the star player of this tournament, is now sitting 2 kills up to 0. A gold lead of 1.5k at 14 minutes and 7 seconds into this game. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Satan Blaze on this Caitlyn, similar situation. Already 30 CS up, already a kill up, already sitting over a K up in gold as well. Like, this is not where at all Kenzo's Goons want to be if they want to take this to a game 5. That said, an all-in attempt coming out of Stabbable. It's getting turned around, however. CSO 67 nearly getting the kill onto this Ergon.
Yeah, this game is not looking too promising for the side of Kenzo's Goons.
This could be the all-in attempt out of Gryffindor. Is able to sidestep the initiation. It does get the kill off camera. Meanwhile, Infernal Drake is secured by Kenzo's Goons. It was a bit of a steal, but now they need to get away. Hames is prematurely wild growth, and unfortunately, Talia gets Dredgeline back to the team, so Saints Blades picks up the kill there.
Overall, that's really good for the side of Kenzo's Goons. They delay the the late game scaling that comes out of the Caitlyn as well as CSO 67 on the Vladimir, and they can somewhat salvage this game as well as picking up an Inferno for themselves and picking up some late game insurance for themselves in that of Lady Gaga fan as well as the Pretender. And I don't know if Lady Gaga fan builds this every single game that he's on Kai'Sa, but he's opting for double pickaxe, which tells me he will be going for the Manamune build, realizing that he doesn't need the Storm Razor because early game is not their focus. They want that late game power spike, and he's willing to concede a lot of the laning phase to get that late game power that comes with that build.
Fully stacked Manamune also it lets you evolve your Q before like the other build, so it's actually faster. Surprising a lot of like, you know, when you look at it on paper, it's like it shouldn't be a faster build, but in reality, it actually is.
Yeah, and getting the Q evolve obviously very good for Kai'Sa.
Important. Here we go. Scatter of the Week does connect onto Talia. The follow-up damage not even needed. A solo kill for Gryffindor.
Oh my god, he didn't even have a chance to press R on himself. That Syndra is so disgustingly ahead. He has a total of 2.5k gold on his lane opponent, and that is not looking pretty for the Pretender, who's only sitting on the Ludens at the moment.
Yeah, and this lead is only going to snowball further and further ahead right now. I shudder to think what will happen when Baron becomes on the table, because no one on Kenzo's Goons wants to walk through a jungle that they don't have vision if they could walk into a bush and immediately stunned and deaded by Gryffindor on the Syndra, or perhaps by Embrace Darkness on this Rek'Sai. This has been such a clean start for Sean and friends. It makes me think, like, what actually happened that game 3?
Yeah, I have no idea. I guess the draft honestly was so much in favor of Kenzo's Goons. I just want to say I love how brutal Hames takes his blue buff right in the face of his mid laner watching him. Does not care at all.
It's a Mumu. A Mumu needs blue. Besides, he's probably thinking at this stage right now, the Pretender is just as likely to give it back over to Gryffindor. That's been the story of this game so far. This mid-jungle synergy being worked out very well to get Gryffindor ahead enough that he's able to start getting solo kills in other lanes. That said, Hames might be stepping forward. Bandage Toss will connect. This could be the opportunity, but there's no one here to back up this Amumu, so really it's a lot of poke for not a lot of damage. Scatter of the Week connects, and Gryffindor actually is doing more to this Amumu. The ultimate gets dropped, but it's not enough for the kill. Ace in the hole! Oh, doesn't quite connect for it. Very low health Hames, just barely survives.
And the Pretender flashing in front of it, but I'm pretty sure he didn't even actually block it, because I think Hames's health bar went lower than when we first originally saw his health bar was. Now spawning Rift Herald, trying to break that mid tower. And I just realized all 3 outer turrets are gone on the side of Kenzo's Goons. I was going to criticize them for not taking another outer with this Rift Herald, but they don't have a choice. They have to take an inner turret with it. And this
Which they do.
Yeah, huge advantage for the side of Sean and friends. 7k gold ahead, especially with that Caitlyn being 2,000 gold ahead, a whole item above the Kai'Sa. This is not looking too good for Kenzo's Goons. And Infernal Drake spawning in 1 minute, this could be at the point where Sean and friends just make this a confirmed win.
Yeah, this is looking like a championship winning performance coming out of Sean and friends. Remembering, this was a best of 5 series. We're in game 4, but they're already up 2-1. All they have to do is take down one last Nexus, and the tournament is theirs. And things are looking very much in their favor. They're already positioning for yet another Infernal Drake, the 3rd of the game. And with 3 Infernal Drakes, Gryffindor, I feel like, can actually follow through and get that kill onto Hames that he fell just short of before. Not to mention, he's also opted for the Morellonomicon as well, so a bit of that tank busty potential. I mean, at this stage, yeah, they're just waiting for Infernal Drake to get killed and kind of daring Kenzo's Goons to step towards them, which they do as 5. Vladimir is up top, but CSO 67 does have teleport available. Should Kenzo's Goons opt to contest this Infernal Drake, I don't think Kenzo's Goons want this fight or any facet of it. And steps towards, Bandage Toss misses, and unfortunately, here comes the re-engage. The knockups on Hage, a big ultimate from the Pretender through the center, actually gets everyone quite low. Lady Gaga fan is getting a lot of damage down, uncontested. All of a sudden, Kenzo's Goons are winning this fight. Satan's Blaze goes down, and only Gryffindor walks away. The teleport was too late out of CSO 67, but Lady Gaga fan might be going in too deep. The health bar is low. It's a triple in return out of Gryffindor in the 1v3 situation. Oh my gosh, this Lux might not be able to escape if he's spotted by Gryffindor. Around the wall he goes, and surprise! Legendary is this Syndra.
Yeah, and you were talking about how Kansas Goose did not want to take that fight, and I think they thought they did want to take it. They took the fight, it was going well, but they overcommitted to killing Gryffindor. I mean, I know he has a 700 gold bounty on him. It was probably less before that fight started, and it looks really juicy, but overcommitting and losing 4 of your members just for that one person is really not worth it at all. They could have just turned back onto the Infernal Drake with the 4 members they had, and if Gryffindor dared to approach that pit by himself, then they could just collapse with the Bandage Tossed and the Lux Binding, but committing that much to nothing is really the reason that they didn't come out on top there, and now Gryffindor is 8-0.
Yeah,
unstoppable.
This is a huge Syndra, and I'm a bit surprised they actually didn't opt for... Oh my gosh, why is the name skipping me right now? Scaly Bookie item!
Scaly Bookie item?
Yes.
Magi's.
Magi's Soul Stealer. Why are we not seeing Magi's in this one? Thank you for that, because at this stage, Gryffindor just seems unstoppable.
Yeah, I am disappointed that we don't see the Scaly Bookie item, but if you think about it, with all the burst damage that's coming out of the Pretender, even though he is behind, he is still a Lux with Ludens as well as spell penetration boots. He can definitely 100-0 someone, but there's a really interesting adaptation coming out of the Pretender. He is actually going for the Athene's Unholy Grail, realizing how far he is behind and really committing to getting Lady Gaga fan ahead. This has gone from a 3-threat comp to a 2-threat comp, and based on if stabbable builds are gargoyles, it'll go down to a 1-threat comp in Lady Gaga fan.
Yeah, it's really all going to be on Gaga if Kaizo's Goons want to pull this one back, but I almost feel like it's getting to the stage where it might be a little bit too late for them. As I was mentioning before, who really wants to walk through this topside jungle right now? Because it's warded up completely in Shauna and Friends' favor, and you have to get through Gryffindor. Whoever steps forward is going to die. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Still, they're moving together as a team, so it may not be that individual effort. And you can sort of see Shauna and Friends actually conceding some ground. Satan Blaze is the one who's kind of acting as bait. The Bandage Toss does connect. The follow-up damage from Gaga fan is coming through, and they do get the pick onto Satan's Blaze, as well as the Fear Beyond Death hitting Amir is loved. So 2 quick picks. All of a sudden, Kaizo's good. Maybe this is what they need. They're looking at this Baron.
I don't know if Baron is the right call here. I think you take the 2 kills and pull your ass out of there. You saw
it actually looks like we're going to be seeing the 3v5. Embrace Darkness gets in. Everyone gets the knock-up. As here comes Gryffindor. He gets 1 kill, but Hames connects with the Bandage Toss. It forces out the flash as Gryffindor is going to have to buy time and walk away. So they do get Talia. I'm not sure that was worth that re-engage. And now for sure you got to be looking at this Baron, right?
I mean, they trade 4 for 1, but now the bot lane of Shauna and Friends is spawning. I don't think they can do this Baron safely, especially with how low Lady Gaga fan is. He was the only reason that fight was going their way, as well as the engage by Hames, of course. But he was the follow-up damage, and if he is low, he cannot do any damage. So I think it's really smart by them to try starting the Baron. When the team comes, you re-engage, and then you kill them, leave, get your advantages where they come. I mean, now you went from a 7k gold deficit, or possibly bigger after the fight Dragon. I actually didn't check what it was, and now you're only at 5,000. And with a team comp that involves a Kaiser, once you reach 30 minutes, 5,000 is basically nothing.
Yeah, this game is definitely still within grasp for Kaizo's Goons, but the raid boss is still alive. Gryffindor 9-0, 700 gold bounty, getting ever closer to that 3rd item. I mean, we see the Dark Seals there. We still might see that Mage Eyes the way this is going.
Yeah, that'll be really funny for me to see. I don't think Gryffindor, like, even though he's a mad trash talker and he is definitely better than every mid laner at this tournament, I don't think he has the confidence in himself to commit to that item and that playstyle where you just try and get as much damage down as possible, but also keeping yourself alive. Magi's is a KDA player item. I think that's what I'm gonna have to call it, the KDA book. right
I
there.
guess, but right now you're looking at perfect KDA, the highest kill participation on the team, the second highest CS behind CSO 67, who's pretty much just been sitting, in a side lane this entire game and not really getting himself involved in a lot of these fights. I feel if there's any time to do it, it is with a grand final on the line. Win it and take it all and do it in style. Get to those 25 stacks. Heck, he's already legendary, right? And mate, you can't have a game without a Cloud Drake. I thought we were going to get away with one with the 3 Infernals, but look who has just showed up.
It was looking promising, but Max, the Cloud Drake curse continues, although it wavered off a bit, We haven't gotten a Cloud Drake since last game, but now it's
Yes, it's the 3 last game, but it's a pick onto Talia right now. Wild Growth barely keeps her alive, but with the Lulu chunked out low, it doesn't appear as if Kaizo Goons are going to be looking for the contest on this Cloud Drake.
Yep.
Should be going over quite cleanly. That said, though, anything could happen. Dragon, though, is already down. A snipe attempt did come out of the Pretender.
That was a lot closer than the one from last game, I'm pretty sure it was. They do give away the Cloud Drake, and now they should have just reset a bit earlier so that they can contest Baron Vision before Sean and friends get there. I feel like as soon as Talia got caught and got chunked out, they should have just backed off and reset, get the wards refreshed, and go straight to that Baron so that they at least have information of what's going on, even if they don't have the option to contest it.
Yeah, that said, Vision for Baron is once again secured by Sean and friends, but already it's being cleared out, so off of that reset, Kaizo Goons not wanting to stick around, so they're content to just clear out that control ward and get the heck out of dodge. The siege, meanwhile, should be continuing about now for Sean and friends. Where do you want to see him put the pressure on the map?
I definitely think they should stay around the top side, especially with that big objective coming up. And CSO 67 does have teleport, and keeping the Urgot away from his team, even because he is one of the most impactful members at the moment on Kenzo's Goons. So keeping him bot lane, matching CSO 67, is what Sean and friends should want to do here, while the rest of their team plays around that big objective.
Yeah, and it does appear as if they are posturing around the Baron pit right now. Gryffindor is still the man to watch. It's his positioning, it's his picks that will probably end this game should there be one last team fight. That said, if Gryffindor goes down and Lady Gaga fan is still standing, this game is blown wide open back in favor of Kaizo's Goons. So there's 2 names you need to be following in these fights. That said, at the moment, we are still playing the Vision game, still trying to establish control around the pit. No one is checking up on CSO 67, though, and someone has to react soon. This is going to be Stabbable being sent down. This could be an opening. As you can see already, members moving back towards the Baron pit. They're going to go ahead and get rid of the Vision plant. Moving forward up through the jungle, trying to find someone they might be able to collapse on, but each team is just giving the other so much breath.
Yeah, and it's because they're all so scared that them getting picked is the reason that they're gonna lose this game. You see the Pretender getting his first blue buff of the game. I'm sure he's very happy about that donation from Haim. And now you see Sean and friends starting Baron, having full control of that topside Vision, seeing 4 members on that ward spotted.
Yep. But they're just going to turn and fight, right? I mean, they don't really want the Baron. They just want to get that pick opportunity. Hames, though, still stepping forward, still looking for that bandage toss. Amira's Love is the only one he can possibly hit at the moment, so he's not going to opt for it now. And actually, everyone backs away because they got the teleport out of Stabbable. This leaves CSO 67 on his own on the bot lane, and this Baron dance will equate to a tower.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if they saw the teleport there. It was actually pretty far away from their team, but they were already backing off, especially because Embrace Darkness was very low from the Baron. I'm not sure why he was tanking it, of all people. But you are right, CSO 67 does pick up the tower, and now he's going to look to stay bot even more in that extended lane. Once he gets a pull off, or like if Stabbable tries to engage on him, it's really easy for CSO to escape. He puts the ult down, gets the Nimbus cloak, uses his phase rush, and just legs it out of there. There's not much for Stabbable to do, and unfortunately, without the teleport, Sean and friends have a lot more options around the objectives on this game. Especially with CSO 67 now completing his Rabadons really a force to be reckoned with at the moment. Highest CS in the game, 30 above his mid laner, who is the next best. And I don't think Kenzo's goons can do much about it if they attempted to take Baron.
No, they can't. But that said, though, it still appears to be Sean and Friend's strategy to get the pick before really trying to make any major play. And again, we have to watch Amira's Love. We have to watch Gryffindor. Who are they going to pull the trigger on? Talia is kind of caught out, but the camera cutting away. Here we go. Gryffindor trying to find his way. He's actually separated from the team right now. This could be problematic. Has to burn flash. Here comes the Brave Darkness. The re-engage is onto Hames right now. Talia, though, is the focus of Gryffindor. Down goes to Lulu. Hames not going to be able to escape either until he uses flash over the wall. The ace in the hole does a lot of damage. It's not enough to secure the kill. Blasting Code is not enough to escape either, and the follow-up flash helps Embrace Darkness bring down Hames. Meanwhile, on the top side, CSO, it's kind of caught in a 2v1 situation with Stabbable doing so much work against this Vladimir. CSO in a lot of danger. A good use of that Zhonya's in order to dodge the Fear Beyond Death, but it's not going to save his life this time around. The kill is secured by Stabbable, but at the cost potentially of this Baron. It's already at half. No one's stepping forward just yet. That said, here comes the Pretender. Ultimate is available, as is Stabbable on full health. Should they walk into this pit? Health bars are quite low, but Gryffindor's health is the one that's full. He is the one you need to be careful of. Baron's low. Ultimate doesn't secure it from the Pretender. Embrace Darkness does have Smite. It is secured by Sean and friends.
Yeah, that could have potentially gone a lot more if Hames predicted that Gryffindor would flash away before he could get off the Curse of the Sad Mummy and secure that kill onto Gryffindor, who now is 10-0 and picking up his first assist of the game. Selling the Dark Seal rather than the Corrupting Potion. I don't know about that one, Gryffindor. I would have gone for the Scaly AP book. Really? I don't know. The Corrupting Potion, I don't know why you would keep that. Even a pink one would have been better. I mean, you don't need it at this point in the game. You're getting every blue buff donated to you. Yeah, I just don't see it.
I guess it's that extra burst of AP. I don't see it either. It's a bit of a surprise. Another Cloud Drake has spawned on to Summoner's Rift. It should be quickly secured, it looks like, by Sean and friends, unless, Hames is stepping forward. If they fight over this Cloud Drake, I will be so surprised, but Hames looks like he wants it. In fact, the entirety of Kenzo's Scoots are stepping forward, and they do force Sean and friends away from the Cloud Drake, at least until the re-engage, perhaps. Take a look at CSO 67. He has the flank. He's trying to find a way in. Not going to find it this time around. Everyone gripping back up as 5 for Sean and friends. Spanish toss connects onto Amira's Love, and Hames is in a bad situation. He needs help from his team. CSO, though, is zoning the rest of the members of Kenzo's Goons away, and with that, they get the kill on Natalia on top of it. This is the fight that will win the tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, your champions are going to be Sean and friends.
And that's the Vladimir we were talking about, with the double infernal, with the death cap finish. Sure, Gryffindor was the star in the early portions of the game, but the Vladimir coming in huge. CSO 67 completing his narrative as the hero of Rumble, winning with his org, beating his org with his own org. What other story could you want from the Rumble finals? And we finally have completed this tournament, and I wish there was a game 5 for even more hype, but unfortunately there is not. And now we are finished, and Sean and friends take the crown.
Yeah, Sean and friends get it done in our game 4. So it took 4 games to do it. That game maybe lasted a little bit longer than I was expecting it to, at 33 minutes and 35 seconds, considering the lead that they had. But you have to give credit to them. It was that jungle mid synergy. It was CSO 67 sticking in that side lanes and then coming up clutch when needed most. Kudos to Sean and friends for a tournament well won.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that game lasted such a long time because Sean and friends, they had every advantage possible in every single lane, so their thought process must have been something like, hey, we have Baron, we are ahead, we can force them to make a mistake, which ultimately Kenzo's Goons did. Hames engaging but unable to get anything, and he just gets into a CC chain, and from then, CSO 67, 4 people on him on the backline, and he still kills everyone somehow. They played with so much caution, and instantly capitalized on the one mistake that Kenzo's Goons eventually made. And it was a really smart play by Sean and friends to hold off and play with discipline. Even though it made the game last a lot longer than it was supposed to, was the best way to secure that win guaranteed.
Yeah, it definitely is. Now comes the time, which is my favorite, is to name the grand final MVP. And I have a little mathematic algorithm I am putting to use right now for my personal pick. And unfortunately, or fortunately, is actually looking at a bit of a tie right now between Gryffindor and Embrace Darkness. So I might be asking you to break said tie for me.
Oh, look, all I'm going to say is jungle difference. The MVP has to go to Embrace Darkness. From 3rd minute in the series, he was already in mid lane, chewing off the Pretender's face on Nocturne of all picks. Level 3 ganks the mid lane, and from then on snowballs every single lane, every single game. And in game 3, sure, while he had not a standout performance, it was because the champ pool of the jungle brought down by 6 picks. I mean, 3 target.
Yeah, let's not forget the 6 jungle ban game.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the one game that Sean and Friends didn't win. I mean, there's got to be a correlation between how much Embrace Darkness pops off and how many games Sean and Friends wins.
Yeah, I am more than happy to agree with you and give it to Embrace Darkness. I mean, he played my main, right? He dropped the Nocturne. He's named after the Nocturne, so of course I'm going to be a little bit biased. Not to mention the fact, yes, Game 4 MVP would be Gryffindor, but this is the series MVP, and Embrace Darkness consistently was just so good for the team, specifically in games 1 and 2. It felt like he was the one putting the team on the and getting a huge win. That said, though, honorable mentions, I believe, belong to both CSO 67. His style of play might not have been the flashiest in this series, but he was consistent in the top lane role, although he played more often in the bot lane later in these games. Just doing his thing, just farming, just shoving, and then coming up clutch in key moments. And also, I want to give kudos to Lady Gaga fan as well. Yes, your team might not have come up with the win this grand final, but I still feel Lady Gaga fan was the most consistent player out of Kenzo's goons and did put up an admirable performance. In fact, I actually was happier with Lady Gaga's fans play more so than I was out of State and Blaze's play. So make of that what you will.
Definitely, I agree there. And the honorable mention going to CSO, gonna have to agree with that as well. Winning both sides of the Vlad Urgot matchup. I mean,
yes,
that is the best way to say I am the better top laner. I will take both those picks into each other and win on both of them. I mean, he really did prove that this was his time to be more consistent than he was throughout this tournament, being more of a coin flip player earlier in this in the past few weeks, and now finally being more consistent, like you were saying, being that pressure drawing force on the team.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, it was. Hello, hello, hello.
Chat seems to disagree a little bit. The majority vote is on Gryffindor. Who would have guessed? The flashy Syndra play.
I mean, this is for the series MVP.
Yeah.
Chat. This isn't for the Game 4 MVP. If this was the Game 4 MVP, 100% give it to Gryffindor. But remembering those first 2 games, I'm sorry, Embrace Darkness. I mean, specifically Game 1. That Nocturne was just the best Nocturne I'd ever seen.
Definitely.
Okay, maybe that's not true. He wasn't running mid lane, but still.
He baited so many
and
bans.
I think exactly. And I think the Gryffindor chat voted MVP is a bit of a recency bias on that Game 4, because, I mean, even in Game 4, Gryffindor only started getting ahead because of that Rek'Sai coming mid 2 or 3 times, giving him those kills, and then, of course, Gryffindor did his thing and popped off on the rest of the game. But the snowball was originally gathered by Embrace Darkness, and Gryffindor was the one who kept rolling it down the hill.
Yeah, it was definitely, though. I mean, it's close between the two. As I said, when I did my mathematical algorithm, they actually came up tied. So,
all I want to know is,
did
you devise this algorithm yourself? Did you come up with this?
I did. And honestly, it was looking all Darkness's way after the first 2 games, but Gryffindor brought it back with games 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Or rather didn't. But It is what it is, and what it is appears to be, do the fans decide or do we decide who actually gets to claim
Well,
who the
we
MVP
get
is?
one, and they also get a fan voted
Yep.
one. I think
They
it's
get the fan vote, and then
So
we have the
can share
caster
it
vote.
then. Well, then they're tied.
Yep.
Look at
Well,
that. They each
but-
get an MVP award.
hey, we're casters for a reason. Therefore, our decision is better than theirs. So all I'm gonna say is Embrace Darkness is the MVP.
All right, like it's not totally I'm a caster because I suck at the game. And this is the closest I can get to a competitive environment. No, that's not it at all.
Hey, let's not hit the fields, okay? Calm down, buddy.
I just want to say, Adam, Max, thank you so much for casting this series. It was amazing having you guys. I'm sure chat agrees.
Of course.
The casting was amazing, and it definitely made the series
Thank
much
you,
more
thank
enjoyable
you.
to watch. I want to thank everybody in the chat
especially my boy
for
Max.
sticking around and watching.